Let me introduce you to one of the proud supporters of From the Hawkeye of the Storm, Iowa floor covering down in Bondurant. Now, for the last year and a half, you've heard me talk about this great company in the heart of central Iowa. They've got their tough core, click together, 4.5 millimeter waterproof vinyl flooring, great for you DIYers out there. But even if you're just a contractor or you need a different type of flooring, they've got you covered, whether it be tile showers, carpet. Give Iowa Floor Covering a chance to serve you better and serve your flooring needs. Visit them online at iowafloorcovering.com. That's iowafloorcovering.com, or you can give them a call at 515-379-7000. That's 515-379-7000. Thank you to Iowa Floor Covering in Bondurant. Iowa Floor Covering and Iowa Smokehouse. We appreciate Iowa Smokehouse being with us throughout the season. And yet another incredible game to recap. And so happy that Iowa Smokehouse has been with us throughout all of this. Visit their website, iowasmokehouse.com, for a great selection of snacking products, whether it be their jerky, their meat sticks. Everything is awesome. And you can get 15% off your order. Tasting is believing. See how that's the case by visiting iowasmokehouse.com. You'll get free shipping with any $50 order. One more time, that's iowasmokehouse.com. How many seconds can we endure awkward silence here to start, Kachine? I really don't know what to say anymore. Okay. I don't know what to say anymore other than, let me just say this. This team is incredible. All right. This team is incredible. And that's all I know. That's all I know how to lead off right now, Kachine. I don't really know how they just won that game. I don't know how we're talking about another trip to the national championship. Iowa played one of its worst halves that I've seen them play, granted against a very good UConn team in that first half, and yet they find a way. Let me get rid of why does that say UConn? Let's get the right graphic up on the screen first. That would help, right? Why does it say 71-69? I'm a mess right now. 71-69. Yes, not 71.
I agree. It's okay. I think we're all a mess. Because I'm not even going to lie to you. There's no way I'm still stressed and the game is over. But that's just the sheer emotions that we went through in the last 3 minutes.
I just hope we're not bringing. I really hope we're not bringing everybody else down. And sometimes I feel like I should be coming on here yelling like you did last time. But after a game like that, I'm just I'm almost flabbergasted.
No.
We come on here so quickly after the game is over. It's almost like I haven't allowed time for this thing to sink in yet. And again, I just cannot comprehend how this team dug deep and found a way to win this game. You look at the stats, it makes it even, in my opinion, even harder to believe. Really, there was no efficiency from any individual except from one, and that's Hannah Stolke. She was 9 of 12 from the field, really dominated the post, which was not a matchup I don't think either one of us expected Iowa to win handily, but it did. Give credit to Aaliyah Edwards. She battled as well, ended up with 17 and 8. But, boy, those 23 for Hannah were huge. Only got 3 rebounds, but she was working. And obviously you get contributions from everybody. I thought Kate Martin really stepped up late. I thought Gabby Marshall getting 5 rebounds. I don't want to state that, but how often do we see Gabby Marshall get 5 rebounds in any game? And in a game like this, where every single loose ball and missed shot and rebound is so important, you need everybody to contribute. You got Clark with 9 boards. You've got a Falter with 7 boards. You've got Kate Martin with 8 boards. You've got Gabby with 5 boards. And as a whole, your team out rebounds the Huskies 38-30. A lot more went into this thing, Kachine, but that's my 2 cents after watching that second half. What do you have?
Kudos to UConn. I said they was going to play 2 ways. One, they was going to let Caitlin have whatever she want. Or they're going to say, nah, Caitlin, you're not going to beat us. Somebody else going to beat us. And that's what happened in the first half. They were on her like glue. There was 2 people coming to her, even if they didn't even need help sometimes, just to make sure she had help, and that left Caitlin having to make some decisions in regards to who to pass it to. And then on top of that, it was just hands everywhere, hence the 12 turnovers that we had as a team, because people are in positions that they're normally not in. They usually just get past the ball and it's an easy score. That wasn't the case tonight. They had to make something happen. I knew we were going to come out better and more focused in the second half. I knew that. And I felt like at one point I was like, okay, we good. And then it was like, what the hell are we doing? I thought that Gabby did a hell of a job on Paige. I don't know how many she ended up with, but whatever it was quiet. I think that Hannah was huge. I was very, very happy with her. I said that I wanted her to get back to her aggressiveness and feeling confident because we're going to need that. I was very happy with her in the high post area. I thought that was very effective. I'm always happy when they put her in the high post because I think she's very good there.
Except that last turnover that could have burned them. That was okay.
The last time we had a situation like this, do you remember at the end of the game when Hannah got it at the top of the key, she ended up missing both free throws, but ended up came back and then made 2. I think it was against West Virginia, maybe. And Lisa Bluter said in the press conference that it was her fault because she should have never had her in that position. Well, why is she in that position again? I'm not understanding. Why is she in that position? Why is she in that position? Like, we have this little lineup here. She's bound to just stay there. Take her away from the ball, do something else, because you keep putting her in this position, and then we're like, oops. Now, Kate, I would hope that she's a little bit smarter as a veteran of 5 years. Okay. Like, the ball is clearly tipped. Why are you like tiptoeing the line? Like, let the ball roll over, get it, and let's go. Like, I wasn't understanding where she was with that. Like, did you not see it? Because I saw it in Charlotte.
I saw it right away, and I understand. But I do understand the confusion and the panic in that moment. You want to be composed.
Panic, yes.
But in that situation, your first thought is, okay, I think it was tipped, but I'm better off. I grab it and get it back to avoid any possibility of it being a backcourt violation. But the problem is then you get a live ball turnover and a run out. I was actually referring to the other turnover under Iowa's basket late when Iowa was up, 1? And Caitlin's driving and gets it over to Hannah Stolke, which I in that situation, either to me, I know you're trying to use some clock, but they're going to get 9.3 or whatever it was, about 9 seconds. UConn was going to get about 9 seconds there, regardless of what Iowa did, assuming they get a rebound. So to me, just look for the best shot and either put them away with a 3 or get it 2-3 and then just play defense. To me, the clock in that situation is not quite as important as maybe we made it out to be. And it was a bad decision. I thought it was a poor decision on Caitlin's part to give up the ball to Hannah. And, of course, it was a bad decision trying to get the ball to Sydney Falter, who was covered in the corner. And I give UConn a lot of credit defensively. They were really active. I mean, you talk about the performance from what's her face that guarded Mule, who guarded Caitlin Clark. She was phenomenal. And, she's someone who averages, 7 and 4, averages 6.5 assists on the season. But in large part, she was the star of the game for the Huskies. Had they won, she would have had to have been the player of the game just because of her effort. We have not seen somebody cause so much disruption to Caitlin Clark. But at the same time, Caitlin Clark got it going in the second half. And there were a couple of really profound ESPN graphics that showed the amount of court that Caitlin was covering in that second half. Kachine, what changed in the third quarter that allowed Caitlin Clark to get going? She didn't have a 3 in the first half.
Yeah, a couple of things. I think it was coaching. I think that one of them, we were running a little bit things. We were using Caitlin as a screener. So, and at the beginning, we got a couple easy buckets off of that. Then, just being a natural human, when you see that, you have a hesitation, right? So, like, regardless if you know you're supposed to be on Caitlin, your human brain just knew you just got scored on twice. So it's like just that one hesitation and it's over with. That's all the split second that Caitlin needs. And then we also ran like a dribble handoff. Caitlin then came back off one ball screen, off a guard screen. They switched because that's what they were doing. And then there was an immediate post ball screen, 5 ball screen. That's how she got her first 3 because they can't switch that. And it was happening too fast. So I felt like that got Caitlin the rhythm that she needed, was using her as a screener, getting easy baskets, and then on top of that, having that double screen action so that they couldn't just switch it or they couldn't just have one ball screen. So a little bit more action than we normally do.
Good thing it's a Friday night. I feel like this show, I have the numbers. I'm looking at the viewership numbers. They're going to continue to grow. And I know this is going to be an all-time awesome show for several reasons. One, because you have a basketball savant and legend on my right in Kachine Alexander. 2, because we have awesome sponsors to support this show. 3, because we've got the Kachine Alexander Snuggie. And I'm sure there are a number of other reasons why this is going to be an amazing show. So please take a moment to hit the like button. Very easy to do. Slide down, hit that little thumbs up button. Please help us to get the stream out in the YouTube algorithm. Share the show out on social media. It takes just a second to do. And certainly call in if you've got a question for Kachine, if you got a question for myself, but most of all Kachine, because this was a game that, I mean, I was just imagining like a couple of different moments in this game. I'm like, okay, I wonder what Kachine would have done in this situation or in this situation, given your track record as a point guard, as an on-ball defender, as a rebounder. Rebounding ended up being so important in this game. So feel free to give us a call, ask Kachine a question, 515-635-1601, 515-635-1601. Before we get to any of our regular callers, we have a very special guest for the show, an Iowa Hawkeye basketball super fan. And if anybody doesn't know her name, Google her name. She's awesome. And I know she's real close to this team, and I'm sure she is celebrating more than any other Hawkeye out there. I'm pleased to add in none other than Bailey Lux from Carroll. Bailey.
Hi.
Welcome. It's
Thank
so good to see you.
Yes, it's good to see you too.
So I don't know where to start. First of all, normally I'm here interviewing someone like Kachine, who's a basketball great. If anybody doesn't know your story, it's one of the most just courageous Iowan stories out there. I won't give everybody the details on that. People need to Google your name. But you have to, this is just the perfect scenario to have you on the show. And we've been setting this up here for a few days. But what's going through your mind and your emotions right now after that game?
You know, at the very beginning, I was very stressed out, and my anxiety levels did go through the roof. But then I had a feeling that we were going to pull through that second half, and we were going to come and take that W. It was a very close game, but, you know, a win's a win.
A win is a win. And
that's true.
You have had, for people that don't know, Bailey, you have had a very unique relationship with this team. Can you talk a little bit about that for the viewers that don't know?
So yeah, I was actually invited last time I was up there to one of their practices that Connor McCaffrey worked out for me. So I got to meet with the whole team, and I got like signatures from a lot of them. I even got a poster signed by all of them, and I got my 2 shirts signed, my Money Martin shirt, my You Make It, You Own It Clark shirt, and then I got my headband signed by Molly.
She's got the Molly headband on tonight. So and this team not only won this game, I'm sure, for Molly, but for you, Bailey.
Yeah.
Who is your favorite player on the team? Can you pick a favorite?
No, I can't. Honestly, I do have my favorite seniors though.
Okay. Your favorite seniors. So what, like one or two of the favorite seniors, or just like all the seniors are your favorites?
All the seniors, basically.
It's easy. That's like a lot of good people and a lot of great competitors on that in that senior class. Yeah. So Bailey, will you be, I know you were at the final game because there was a video special that I shared on social media here. I think it was yesterday. You were at the final game for Caitlin Clark and Carver.
Yes, I was.
Are there any plans to get to Cleveland Sunday? No? Okay.
Unfortunately not.
I'm assuming you have a large conglomerate of family, though, cheering on the Hawks from.
Yeah. And, and I also have scans on Monday, too, so we wouldn't have been able to go anyways.
Okay. Well, Bailey, you have inspired me. Your story is very special, not only to Hawkeye fans. You are not far from me. My wife and I live right here in Ames, so you're just down the road on Highway 30.
Yep.
You know, if people have not heard your story, if you want an inspirational story and a story of a strong young woman like yourself, just Google search Bailey Lux. And Bailey, is there a way to help out the cause? I know there was. We talked about this like a month ago or so. Is there still a GoFundMe going on right now, or a donation arrangement for some of the expenses involved with your medical care?
Not this time. No.
Well, if there is, you know where to reach me, and we would be happy and proud to get that out to Hawkeye fans everywhere.
Right.
Bailey, thank you for hopping on for a few minutes.
Thank you for having me.
We absolutely would love to have you again sometime.
Yes, that would be fun.
Thank you, Bailey. Have a great night. Enjoy this win.
Right, you too.
All right. Bailey Lux out of Carroll. That was a great moment. I just was so looking forward to having her hop on the show with us. She is, again, a great representation of strength and endurance and just an incredible amount of just if you want motivation to enjoy each day and to fight each day, search Bailey Lux and hear about her story. So anyways, I was so happy we were able to make that work. And with a win, right? Bailey was going to join us regardless, but with a win. How awesome was that? So, Bailey, keep on keeping on. Thank you for being here. All right, let's get back to the basketball. Iowa defeating UConn 71-69. The South Carolina Gamecocks await the Huskies in the national championship tomorrow. We've got a bunch of people, as normal, that want to talk to Kachine Alexander. So let's go to our Iowa Smokehouse call-in line. Who's on the line?
This is John.
Hey, John.
Well, how's it going, Corey and Kat?
Can't complain.
No. Hell of a game. I did my red Arbach today. I lit up a cigar.
Oh, okay.
For a victory cigar. I just had one thing to say, or a couple things to say real quick. But what do you think of now of the committee picking the route they had to go? Did they have a Ouija board or something to be able to get these games to where they had to play LSU, UConn, and now South Carolina?
Well, first of all,
they couldn't have got any better, for rating.
Oh, well, the rating side.
Well, yeah.
If we've talked about fairness to Iowa, was this draw fair to Iowa, Kachine? I don't know that most people think it was.
No.
The region, but they made it through, and there are a lot of really marquee matchups that are great for the sport and great for ESPN. Paige Caitlin being one of them. We saw Angel Caitlin. We saw Paige Juju, and now we're going to get that whole South Carolina team against Caitlin Clark. So someone's comment on the channel, John, from when Selection Sunday, when the bracket was initially released, kind of resonates with me even now. The comment was made that, hey, if Iowa figures out a way to get to the Final Four and make a run to the national championship game, in spite of this draw, in spite of what the committee did on Selection Sunday, then it will be that much more impressive. And so regardless of what happens Sunday, we will look back at what Iowa has done and say, this was more impressive than what they did last year. This run this year, in my opinion, is more impressive than what they did a year ago, regardless of the result on Sunday. And obviously, if they win, that will be a tremendous cherry on top. But it just makes it that much more impressive given the difficult road.
Couldn't have said it better myself, honestly. That's why I don't like when people have the argument of, it's rigged and how. You see how they could have gave us a much easier bracket. They could have put us with cupcakes. They didn't. Even from the beginning, everybody said we had the toughest road. And here we are at the end. Yep. So I feel like, you could say questionable calls and all the other stuff, but you can't take away from the fact that Iowa had the toughest route to get here.
Hey, maybe they're a team with a destiny. Who knows?
Right.
Okay. One other thing I was going to talk about at the end of the game was that, Kate Martin made a couple tough shots at the end of that game.
Yes. Shots they needed. Shots in possessions in which they had a heck of a time getting the ball to Caitlin Clark. And that little...
And they couldn't miss. I mean, they couldn't afford to miss.
Yep. The little dribble drive turnaround over the right shoulder is exactly... That's her shot. Now, that is her shot. She loves that shot. But, boy, that second one especially had a very low arc. And that was both of those were big moments in the game.
Yeah, just got it over. What? Now my mind goes blank with that name. Becker.
Paige. Yep.
Yeah, and but I think they all, the supporting cast, I think basically won the game in the end. I mean,
absolutely.
So a hell of a game.
Well, John, I appreciate you calling in, sir, and hopefully we'll be talking about an even better game on Sunday. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, that would be.
So, thank you, sir.
I got it. Well, you guys have a good night. I know you're going to have a good night.
We'll have a great night. You as well.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. All right. Can we address let's address the officiating. So I know there are going to be a number there's already trolls in the chat. I knew there were going to be. Based upon the replay
Mhm.
of the illegal screen called on Aaliyah Edwards,
Mhm.
based upon the replay, it was an illegal screen.
You said it was?
It was.
Oh, okay. I mean, here's the kicker, guys.
Was it or was it not?
Was it an illegal screen by the technicality, the book, the rule?
Yes. Yes.
Right? Yes, it was. But you're not supposed to make that call. You're not supposed to make that call. You just supposed
make that call in the second quarter. Make it in the fourth quarter.
Right. They didn't make it at all.
They made it earlier in the game.
Yeah, but there was so many more of them. That's the thing, though. Like, if you're gonna make an emphasis on it, especially when the game is on the line, no basketball player wants a ref to decide the game. I don't care who you are.
The ref didn't.
I'm an Iowa fan. I mean, yes, because.
No, the ref didn't decide the game. The ref was
that's all people are going to be talking about. They're not talking about anything else besides that call and how the ref screwed.
You want to know something?
That's what you don't want.
From an Iowa perspective, that's okay. They can talk about it because Iowa got absolutely killed and put over a barrel by the officials a year ago, the entire game against LSU. So
I understand.
Absolutely by the books, the right call at a time that was inopportune. I don't buy it. Now I'm biased. That's fine. But I'm just saying I didn't see it in real time. I was looking at the ball in real time.
I knew it was an illegal screen as soon as she said it. Did I think he was going to call it? I didn't. So I was shocked when he did. But what people have to understand is even Gino knew it. They had to pull him back off the court when they called the jump ball that he thought, they called a foul and he thought it was a jump ball. Gino didn't even turn to the court. He was like screaming at the bench, hitting the seat or whatever, because he knew that it was an illegal screen. It's just the fact that nobody really wants that kind of call called. And the simple fact of like, she didn't have to do that.
Then
you understand what I'm saying?
Like, then don't set an illegal screen.
She didn't have to do that. Paige is going to get open anyways. Now, maybe she would not have been open, but she would have been able to get the ball. You would have still had time. Like, I hate that it had to end like that and is overshadowed by anything. I'm always like that when it comes to refs. I don't like a game being overshadowed by a referee call. I hate it. Any basketball, like unbiased basketball fan hates that because that's all you're going to talk about. Nobody is talking about what Iowa actually did in that second half. They didn't even turn the ball over until like 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So like nobody's going to talk about that. All you see on Twitter is Iowa or UConn got screwed. You don't call that. Da, 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 da. That's all they're talking about. That's why I don't like when refs make calls like that. Like, unless it is something, again, unless it is like on the shot or something like that, then whatever. But Jesus.
Okay, so let me ask you, would you rather them not make calls to appease the morons on Twitter and social media?
No, listen, let me make myself very clear. I understand that it's a foul. I'm just saying I hate that games end like that, where refs have to be the deciding factor. I do not like that. I am not saying the refs were wrong. I'm not saying that. I just hate when games have to end like that because now it's overshadowed. Was it the correct call? Yes, it was the correct call. I just don't like when games end like that. I just don't. So again, is it the correct call? Yeah, you can't not argue that the fact that she is leaning. Number one, her base is this far apart, like from California to New York. Like her base is hella far. That's illegal right there. Then she leans in. That's another illegal. And then she chicken wings. So like, it's not like it's an illegal screen. I just don't like when things end like that because it just overshadows everything else. That's all. Like,
if the officials swallow their whistle right there, Cash, they swallow their whistle and Paige hits a three and then on the replay, it's clear that there was an illegal screen that created that, then what's the narrative on the other side from the fan base on
There's
Twitter?
always going to be a narrative. I'm
Right.
just saying I wish it wasn't a thing, as in the sense of I wish that I hate when games end like that. I just wish she would have just not done it. Like, I just don't like when it ends like that. I don't care about the refs' calls because it's going to go either way. Somebody's going to be upset, right? It's just the fact that I don't like when a game comes down to that. Like, same way when Kim Mulkey was at Baylor or whatever, and the girl clobbered her, right? They didn't call the foul. They win the championship. The other team wins the championship, whatever the case is. I don't like when it comes down to that. I just wish games come down to just flat out basketball. Whatever happens, happens. Like, in regards to you either make a shot, you miss a shot. That's it. Because now all everybody's talking about is the refs instead of the amazing basketball game that we just watched by both teams and the product that was put on the floor. Nika and her amazing defense. Like, we're not talking about that. All we're talking about is the illegal screen. Hence why I said I hate when things come down to that.
Well,
that's all.
You can hate it. It is part of the game. Fouls are part of the game. And if you choose a player, the player determined, Aaliyah Edwards determined what happened there. It was not that you could say it's the officials. Yeah, the officials did their duty in making that call. But if Aaliyah Edwards, if she didn't want that call made, then she shouldn't have set an illegal screen. And I, for one, am happy that the call was made because it was the right call. And yeah, I'm an Iowa fan. I get it.
Of course.
So
yeah,
I don't know that I agree with you on this, Kachine. I don't know that I agree with you. I understand.
You would rather a game be decided by a referee or the fact that it just plays out well. Like,
I understand.
Why would you want it to be a call?
Okay, let me say this. If I had an option of a clean win versus a win that involved a foul at the end, yeah, I'm going to take the clean win. But
that's my point, Corey.
Yeah, I get that. But I'm saying we can play this world in fantasy land, but the reality is Aaliyah Edwards did what she did, and so the officials were either going to make the call, the right call, or make the wrong call. Like, I get what you're saying, but we're
that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying I don't like when games end like that. That's all I'm saying. Like, yes, it had to happen. She set the illegal screen. It is her fault. I am fully aware of that. I just don't like the fact when they have to end like that. I wish in fantasy land that it was a situation where she didn't set an illegal screen. We get through the screen, Paige shoots a shot, it's off, we get the rebound, game over. Like, I just wish it was a cleaner situation because, again, we are not talking about what needs to be talked about. The game. We're talking about a call. That's the only issue.
We're going to talk about the game.
I hate that.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
I can understand where you're coming from, and ideally, you would prefer the game not end the way it ended.
Yes. Now, I'm happy that if they were going to make a call, it's in our favor. You know what I mean? Like, I'm happy that it was that. It could have went the other way, but it's just the simple fact that we're not talking about that, and we're not going to, it's going to be like that until the next game.
And
because that was an amazing game. I had people texting me all over the place. People sending me pictures of people who have never watched the game before. Like, that should be the forefront, man. This game was amazing, but it's not. So that's unfortunate. Maybe I should say that. It's unfortunate.
And there are situations, Kachine, like the Super Bowl 2 years ago, where a call is made late in the game, and it is the talk, but we can acknowledge it was the right call. I think that's where we're at this evening. And I think there are also situations where calls are made that end up determining a game that are the wrong call.
Yeah.
And that's even worse, right?
That's even worse. Oh, for sure. That's even worse.
So
that's way worse, for sure. I just wish, like I said, it was a cleaner win. But listen, Iowa fought their butts off. They fought for that win. And at the end of the day, like, the refs were inconsistent on both sides throughout the whole game. So I'm just happy that we came out with the W and that we pushed through, because the first half was probably the worst half I've seen in a while. And it was very hard to watch. So, but overall, I mean, I highly doubt, and maybe I'm wrong, but I highly doubt Gino is going to be ripping the refs. I doubt it. I mean, maybe. You never know. But I don't know. I just felt like that is a game, and I'm just going to be my hot take. I'm actually very happy we had that kind of game, of a terrible game, but we pulled it out. I'm actually very happy that we had that game, because I think that we needed it before we play South Carolina. And the reason why I say that is because we were getting comfortable. We were getting a little cocky. We were getting a little, in that scenario. When we came out, it looked like to me that they felt like they had it in the bag. And UConn came out and punched us in the mouth. And so I am hoping that this game shows them that they need to be focused from the start, not wait, because they almost lost that. And in the LSU game,
you think this was a result of maybe a lack of focus early?
I think so, because we were making mistakes that we don't make. How many turnovers did we have? And majority of them were unforced. We were just coughing up the ball. There were some that I'll take, but a lot of them were just like unforced errors. We were lackadaisical, just throwing the ball like this, or it wasn't even anything that was like, oh my gosh, like this is West Virginia's defense was way more intense than this was. Now, was Nika all over Caitlin? Absolutely, but they were acting like, even Sid, she was coughing the ball up left and right. Yeah. So for me, it was just, we were not focused. They were not doing anything we hadn't already seen. So if that is the case, to me, that's a lack of focus. On the defensive end, a lack of focus. You can't tell me that all of a sudden at halftime, you just decide, you know what? It was just the first half. No, you came out with a laser focus in the second half. You were going to pay attention to details, and you were going to do what exactly was on the scouting report and the game plan. And you could see it as soon as the ball was, I guess, put in play in the second half. The way we were moving on defense, the way we were moving on offense, it was different than what we were doing in the first half. You don't just turn the ball over 12 times and then not turn the ball over until way into the fourth quarter. No, that doesn't just happen. It's not the defense, it's us. And I'm pretty sure that's what Lisa Bluter said in the locker room.
I've got so much. I've got so much to say on all of this. All right. So much to say to all this. And we've got some time. Lemansky, thank you for the super chat. Lemansky says, hit the like button and put a smile on my buddy Cash. And he spelled Cash correctly in this context. How about that, Kachine?
That is a win.
And Kachine, you know that whenever I challenge you on something, it's all in good faith, and it's all in
of course. Of course.
It's all love. But I understand the idealistic scenario at the end of that game. You wish that it ended differently. I did think it was clever, the throwing the ball off the Paige's back by Caitlin in that situation.
Boy, that's some smart stuff right there.
The only way you lose the game with 1.1 seconds when you've got the ball into your own basket is with a foul and sending them to the free throw line. Like, there ain't nobody, like, I would have just, what she did was fine, but like, just roll the ball. Like, nobody's making a full court shot.
Nah, she wasn't even looking. She was. Yeah.
So anyways, Lemansky, thank you. And again, we're going to get to all of your comments and your calls. So we're going to have to keep them short. If I cut you off again for the second straight night, it's not personal. And by the way, to the individual who said the game is on Sunday, not tomorrow. Well, technically it's after midnight in Cleveland. So the game is technically tomorrow, but you're right. National championship game is on Sunday. So I put that on the graphic, corrected the graphic. So let's go to our next caller on hold. We'll start with Tony.
Oh.
Tony, welcome.
You know, You caught me with everything, and my eyes may look not the greatest. Okay.
Are you drinking or what? What?
Yes, that, and I recently, within the last month, found out about my mom getting diagnosed with breast cancer. So your first guess caught me a little off guard. So,
And I'm assuming Connie, you knew about Bailey.
I did, 100%.
Yeah.
With this is the second year she's been on game day, I believe, correct?
So I don't know about the game. I know she was there. I don't know about how involved she was with game day. Maybe you would know.
I believe she was at the Indiana Iowa home finale.
Okay.
When Caitlin hit that right corner three away from the bench, and we won that game. What was it, last year?
Yeah.
Okay. I believe she was at that game day as well.
Yeah, I've got a lot of admiration for that whole family and that whole community because it's been a very difficult ride.
Yeah. Yeah. And then to transition to my fiery side, Kachine, you don't know, I was a soccer official for almost 15 years, and I did highest was D3. As an official, I never believed that a game came down to officials' call. I never believed that.
Oh no, not at all.
I believed that the same call that was made 1 second into the game affected, and this is soccer, the 90th minute in the game. Same thing in basketball. The first foul that's called the first second of the game affected 59 into the game, you know. That's just something I've felt passionately about, and I'll need to compose my thoughts at a later time to get the officials' take. On a lighthearted note, so I can get into this, can you rank the assistant jobs you had? Because because and I want to get you into something easy here before I ask two other questions. Because I know that I followed and looked Concordia, NDSU, Florida Atlantic, and James Madison. Right?
Yeah.
Did I miss anything?
No. Number 4. I'm gonna start at the bottom.
Go ahead. I hope it's the bottom that I have, but go ahead.
NDSU.
Thank you. We can continue. Okay.
You just
get that out of the way.
What, you don't like Fargo? You don't like Fargo or what?
Corey, I told you I lived in Grand Forks, North Dakota, which is home of UND, North Dakota, before I moved to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And I'm transitioning into this because she talked about coaching at the Pentagon and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have, I told you I'm looking forward to both the women's and men's game next fall. But go ahead. I'm glad NDSU is 4th. That's what I really wanted to hear, but go ahead with the rest.
Dang. That's a tough one. 2 and 3 are tough. I mean, I have a clear 1, but 2 and 3 are pretty tough because they're like almost
what's the clear 1 then?
Concordia.
I knew you were going to say that.
Is it because it's the hometown?
Huh?
Is it because it's your hometown? Like you are from the Twin Cities, Concordia, St. Paul, and all that stuff?
It was my first coaching job.
Okay.
And I learned so much in those 2 years to set me up for the rest of my career that I can never take back. And so like I really had like a really good time there. Like loved it. If they were Division I, I feel like I probably would have never left.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. 2 and 3 though are kind of neck and neck. They both have pros and cons.
And that's something that I'm more of a men's basketball guy, and I've fell in love with the women's game in the past few years. And something that I want to look at with replacing not only Lisa, but Fran as well is, fighting up those ranks. You went from D2 Concordia to NDSU to, was it James Madison next, and then Florida Atlantic, or whatever the order.
Florida Atlantic, then James Madison was my last stop.
You know, fighting up those ranks is something that some people need to realize that it takes a lot to do that. It's very different levels. It's 100% different levels. Like, what are the expectations from Concordia to NDSU to Florida Atlantic and James Madison? Like, it's just night and day.
They're all different types of players. There's different types of programs, different types of what's the word I want to use? Different types of
expectations.
Conferences. There's different types of expectations. There's a lot of differences in between each stop, even with Florida Atlantic and JMU being like Division I and NDSU being Division I, they're all completely different.
Yeah.
Every single last one of them. So they're all different, but I mean, at the end of the day, they all serve their purpose. So what you leading into? You got me curious now.
That's all. I'm a UND guy. I lived in Grand Forks, North Dakota for 5 years before I moved to Sioux Falls. So being a Grand Forks, North Dakota UND guy. Yep.
I got you.
Now
all
you
right. Well, good, Tony.
And then the other three things were, number one, I think with the airlines, I didn't get to talk about this. Corey knows because I messaged him last night. Like, I had some baby troubles. I couldn't stay on the Hawkeye hangout. The airlines with UConn traveling from Portland to Cleveland direct, they didn't go home. Like, that's a lot time zone change from late Monday night to now playing this game that we did on Friday night. Like, they left after us, actually. We left Albany before they left Portland. And I mean, legs is a huge thing, because think about it. They're going from Storrs, Connecticut to Portland, Oregon, back to Cleveland, Ohio. That's a lot of travel for anyone.
I mean, it is, but clearly it didn't bother them too much. They was kicking their ass. So clearly
I think I will agree with you for the first half. I think the legs might have caught up with them in the second half.
I can agree with that, but that's also because they really ain't playing nobody.
That's true.
Like,
so short bench / short travel
for the whole tournament.
Yeah.
And for majority of the season. So at the end of the day, like, it was bound to catch up with them eventually. But I'm just happy that our girls, persevered at this rate, because, child, that was an ugly, capital ugly win.
Yeah. And then the other thing, I'll close out with two more things. UConn has not played a game before tonight that was within 5 points the whole season. Now, I know you can remember as like a competitor, like how to grind out a win. But before tonight, UConn had not played a game that was within 5 points for the whole season.
So they either lost by a lot or won by a lot?
Correct.
Well, kudos to us then. Thank you, Big Ten.
Because, I mean, we knew how to grind out victories and stuff like that. That did matter tonight. I really do think it did. I mean, think about we've talked about that inbounds play where Caitlin threw it off. I don't know. I forget who it was. But, I mean, that was just an ingenious play in my eyes. Like, throwing it off her, knowing time, clock, score, everything.
She shocked me with that one. Because I remember when she did it, I was like, ooh, that's smart. Because in the meantime, everybody is like just trying to get it in.
Yep.
And then it's like, I guess I didn't think about that, But yeah, that was GOAT mentality right there.
Taking a step back and realizing time and score and everything. And no one panicked in that situation.
In the heat of the moment. Yep. After we done turned it over. Yep. We done everything else. Yeah, that was GOAT mentality for me.
This the one thing, because I got my shirt. Please donate to the Swarm. These girls need as much help as they can get. The program does. And you can donate as little as $1 per win for the rest of the way, $1 per 3-pointer. Go to the Swarm website. Like, we need
Yeah.
it. We can make a difference. And
What's up?
I messaged you about that, Corey, and it's just like, these girls are doing community service. It's not just like, here's a paycheck. All these girls are doing community service to get this money. That's all I got.
I was just gonna say, what's awesome is I was just reading through all the supportive comments toward Bailey in the chat. I didn't see those until now. So, anyways, Tony, thank you for calling in, sir. I'm glad that that you're here with us as always. So,
I'll see you on Sunday afternoon.
All right, sir. Thank you. All right, appreciate Tony being here, and I let Tony go a little long because Tony has been a big help to this show. I won't go into.
Yes, he has.
All the ways he's done that, but I really appreciate Tony. Polish guy. Iowa had the toughest road to the final game. Insane to have beaten LSU and UConn back-to-back and then get undefeated South Carolina. Thomas Hahn. Corey, are you losing your mind? You just said SC is awaiting the Huskies. You spelled Huskies with a Y, so maybe I'm not the one losing my mind. In the championship tomorrow, first of all, it's Iowa, not UConn, and it's Sunday. Well, Thomas, you need to, quote, calm down. Anyways, let's go to our next caller. We've got Ryan. What's up, man? You're our next Iowa Smokehouse caller. Congratulations, Ryan. You're all muted, Ryan. We can't hear a word you're saying. Okay. What was the bartender serving today, Ryan?
You put your right foot in, you put your right foot out. You put your right foot in and shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you do yourself some dance. That's what it's all about. You know what? Kachine nailed it yet once again. This is the kind of game we had to have to go up against the South Carolina. You had to grind one out, not play at your best. I mean, statistically, when we called 21-8-7 or whatever it was, a bad or off game. Good Lord, how blessed are we? We won this game without our A game, and it was freaking Connecticut. What do you say about that, Corey? What do you say, Cowboy Corey? I don't see the hat.
Yeah.
Kachine, I want to hear your example or your take on that, and then Brett Bielema is probably a proud man.
Say that again. What did you say about Brett?
He's a proud man.
He's a proud man. That's what he said.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
He's got a Hawkeye tattoo on his leg. I'm sure he's got some Caitlin mania.
Okay.
Behind closed doors. Why wouldn't he?
I bet you he's a fan of the Iowa women. I bet Bert watches all these shows. Absolutely.
I do have one other question after that one.
Okay.
Go ahead, Corey. You got to answer the first one.
What was the first one? What was the question?
Okay, I'll put it this way. In my opinion, Caitlin had several opportunities to take floaters instead of passing it off to people like Gabby Marshall with three people down low under the paint, under the basket, Hannah a couple of times. Do you think she should have just gone up and taken it? Is she trying to be a little too unselfish? And then, of course, your keys to the game in the championship, where Iowa will win 83-79. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. First of all, Caitlin Clark does not shoot floaters. Can we just establish that right now? Kachine, that's one part of her game that has probably needs to evolve at the next level, because you're not all, especially in the WNBA, you're not always going to be able to get to the rim. And they're going to figure out not that she's not going to be effective from three. I'm sure she will be, but I think developing the Molly Davis type of floater, or at least stop and pop. We don't see her really with the mini hook or the she doesn't post up. I'm not saying those are things. I don't know how extensive we need to get with her development, but what did you think about her decision making when she got into those spaces? Would you have preferred her take more mid-range shots, or what's your thinking on that?
We've talked about Caitlin, right? So like Caitlin is a phenomenal passer, and I think sometimes she gets caught up in the pass and not who she's passing to. Sometimes there was a couple of times, for example, the one where she passed it to Sid. It's like, no, because we should be taking the last shot of the quarter. Now Sid takes whatever that was, running, whatever that was. Now the UConn comes down with plenty of time on the clock. They get the last shot and they end up scoring. It's like things like that, like no time and score all the time, and the person. And then a couple of to Hannah that I didn't feel like she should pass, even though she couldn't get it there. I don't think she should have passed it. Overall, we looked kind of scared or something at the beginning. I don't know if it was like shell shock, or if we thought it wasn't going to be that tough, or, we had it in the bag. I don't know, but we were so helter-skelter at the beginning. Sid, who normally doesn't, she even looked like she was a deer in headlights at the beginning. Kate Martin looked discombobulated at the beginning. It's like we had no idea what was going on. And I have a hard time believing that we didn't have an idea of what was going on, or Lisa Bluter didn't prepare us for that. We've seen it many times. People are always trying to do different things with Caitlin Clark. That's why I think, and like I said earlier, I feel like it was focus, because this is not something we haven't seen all year. No, we have seen it before. So why? The only thing that I can think of is that you were not focused. Your mental was somewhere else, maybe on the next game and not this game. So, but God forbid, man. But like I said, we needed a gut punch. We needed it. Lo and behold, we came out with a window. Ain't nothing better than a gut punch with a win.
I just want to clarify something, because I see a lot of people in the chat, most of which I'm sure are UConn fans.
Oh, God.
Making claims that you are somehow endorsing the idea that the game was fixed.
What?
You never once made that statement. And I just want to make something very clear, and I think you made this clear, but I'll allow you to correct me if I'm wrong. Given what happened with Aaliyah Edwards at the end of the game, the call was the right call. You wish that Aaliyah Edwards hadn't done what she did to determine the game in that situation, to put the onus on the officials, correct?
Yes. It's very simple. Like, Aaliyah Edwards set an illegal screen. I like games not to end like that. It just makes it better for the whole thing. Because again, here we are spending majority of our time talking about the refs. It's the first thing that was in the chat. That's the first thing that's on social media. Instead of talking about after the LSU game and the Iowa game, what was everybody talking about? No matter if you were an Iowa fan, an LSU fan, or no fan just of women's basketball, we were talking about the game. We were talking about the players. We were talking about the competitiveness. We were talking about women's basketball. We were not talking about the refs. So all I'm saying is I just hate when games end like that. Now, did the refs make the right call? Yeah. It just sucks that they had to. That's all.
All right. Let's go to our next Iowa Smokehouse caller. We've got Sister Noble here with us.
Hi.
Welcome.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I think I follow you on Twitter.
Yeah, you probably do. I think you do. Well, I need to follow you back then. I need to follow you back.
See? That's it. That's the one.
Yeah, so I this is my first time actually coming on the show, and I'm just very happy that our ladies won tonight. I mean, I expected them to beat UConn by at least 15 points. I'm gonna be honest. I posted something about that on Twitter the day before, and I was expecting them to beat UConn by at least 15 points. Okay, and this is no knock against Paige Beckers. Okay, and she's a phenomenal player, and she will be wonderful at the next level. I do believe that. But our ladies are much better than UConn. And that's all I wanted to come on here and say. I'm just happy that our ladies won.
I think we're all in agreement there.
I couldn't agree more. I did not expect them to win by 15. Just because Final Four game, and I will say this, I was a little nervous, Kachine. You know, I made this statement on the show today. I was a little bit giving Gino Auriemma 4 days to figure out a game plan against Caitlin Clark. And in that first half, Caitlin Clark was sideways. They're turning the ball over. I think the thing was the fact that they managed to stay within 6 at halftime. In spite of a horrendous first half, they're down just 6. I mean, so maybe they should.
I said it was a win at halftime. Call it what you want. I was like, this is a win. We're down 6. 12 turnovers. We're 3 of 14 from 3. Like, I can't. I mean, given the circumstances, we should be down by double digits. So I thought it was a win. I don't think I was on the 15 area, but I thought it'd be like 8 to 10. That's where I was at in the area. I felt like we was gonna win, but I think I was like 8 to 10, somewhere around there. Just because of the competitiveness of this. But that was too close to comfort.
Yes, it was. You know, I had to, relax after the game. You know, I was my blood pressure kept going up, during the game. And after the game, I was happy. I was relieved,
Yeah.
So, and I'm going to go ahead and go and, and let you guys know.
Let's hope
thank you for calling in.
Absolutely.
You're welcome.
Let's hope we get to hear from you after the game on Sunday. That might be an even longer show, and maybe we can double our viewer numbers on Sunday. But definitely call in Sunday if they win. But call in Sunday either way. But hopefully,
either way.
Oh yeah,
they'll win.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Phone call.
I love a new caller.
Absolutely. I think it takes a lot of. I'm not saying for the lady that just called in, but I do think it takes sometimes. People get nervous just going in front of a camera or even just having their voice. So don't be afraid. I'm with Kachine. I love hearing from new callers and Hawkeye fans everywhere, especially with an opportunity to talk to somebody as legendary as Kachine.
We don't bite. I promise.
All right. Before we get to our next caller, our RTI Threads player of the game is Hannah Stuelke, 23 points, 9 of 12 from the field. The efficiency from Hannah was so needed, and she made some questionable plays there, turned the ball over in the corner.
Yeah.
Falter. She had a couple of poor decisions that led to turnovers.
Yeah.
But in general, they don't get her 23 points in the post. They're not winning this game. And she had moments in that, especially in that third quarter, I thought, and this is the second straight game where they've really made a statement in the third, I thought. She had moments in that second half in that third quarter where you could tell her confidence locked into a new gear.
Yeah.
And, we've seen flashes of that Hannah Stuelke. And obviously, we can talk about next year on a different show, but that's the Hannah Stuelke that's going to need to be a regular part of this offense game after game after game moving forward without Caitlin Clark. She can't afford to lose that. You can't afford to be a roller coaster of emotions on the basketball court. And I don't know that that's what she is, but as it relates to how she attacks the rim or does not attack the rim, I feel like there's maybe too many ups and too many downs.
I can agree with that. I mean, I think Hannah turned it up when that girl yelled at her. So that's my take on it.
Folks, be sure to check out RTI Threads. They're sponsoring our player of the game, but also they've got a bunch of Hawkeye athletes as we're in the middle of spring practice. And how about this? Go over to cd3lacesup.com because Cooper DeJean, they've got a cool NFL draft, Cooper DeJean NFL draft line of apparel. So check it out, cd3lacesup.com. The draft coming up. Cooper is now healthy. He's reported to some national writers that he is full go and ready to show off for teams, and that will likely be a first-round draft pick. Support Cooper DeJean, his stock, and also his NIL cause, cd3lacesup.com, as he gets set to start the next part of his career at the pro level. Again, cd3lacesup.com and rtithreads.com. Let's go back to our Iowa Smokehouse call-in line. We've got somebody on our phone line that's been on hold a long, long time. Thank you for calling Iowa Postgame with Kachine Alexander. Who's on the line?
Well, this would be Kristen, West Wyoming.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
How are you guys? I'm doing really good. First I wanted to say how sweet it was for you to have Bailey on the show. It was very heartening for me. And I don't know if this would help Tony or not, but I'm old, and it's almost a year to the day, 9 years to the day that I finished chemo and radiation, and I'm still as obnoxious as ever.
Oh, congratulations.
And,
yeah. Great to hear.
So, yeah. So, but tonight, this game, I had to step out in the other room a couple of times because it was too much. But you know what? When it turned into a dogfight, I thought we are going to win this. You know. But there was a point when we were up by 10, and then they started catching it. Do you think that they just sort of, in their mindset, our mindset was, well, okay, we're going to win this, and they relaxed a little bit, and that sort of opened it up for UConn to come back?
It's a good question, Kachine. What do you think? The wheels are turning, Chris. Don't worry.
They are. I don't know, Chris. I don't know. Corey, what do you think?
I will say this. I think as this game progressed, and you made the comment about it being a dogfight and growing in your confidence level as it became a dogfight, I don't know that I would go that far, because I was pretty on edge on that last possession that ended up being an illegal screen call, because honestly, I felt this whole game that at some point Paige Beckers was going to burn Iowa, because like that is for some reason, and maybe that's just the pessimist in me, you feel like we talked about it last night. You feel like Paige Beckers had kind of been the forgotten star in the game this year, behind Angel Reese, behind Caitlin Clark, behind Juju Watkins, and an opportunity down one late in the game against an Iowa team that had played good defense, but is not known to be very good in half-court D. I was not real confident there late. Now, everything leading up to that point, I was just, when Iowa went up 7, as poorly as they had played, I was feeling good at that moment. And then UConn responded with 3 straight mid-range jumpers. Every one of those was a difficult shot and a huge shot. So yeah, you hate to see the foul called, in the game in a way, but we've covered that. Gritty win, and I agree with what Cash said earlier. To get by in a game like this, I don't know that it does anything. I mean, you're going to be moving on. You're not going to be looking at tape for hours, but to be able to get through this game, this is how you got to win this time of year.
Right.
And it doesn't like people who say, well, this is a sign of things, like this is a bad sign. A bad sign. They're playing in the national title tomorrow on Sunday. Who cares?
Right.
Like, they may lose, they may win, but the season is this is the season right here. So this is the end of the career for Caitlin Clark and for Kate Martin. And we saw Kate Martin play with a sense of urgency late in this game. She had a poor offensive game in that first half. She was violated on the court. She came back in that second half and really just balled out. In the fourth quarter specifically. Again, talk about a couple of those turnaround fadeaway jump shots from the mid-range, fighting for loose balls. Again, it was a bad turnover at half court, understandable to an extent. Anna Stolke had some poor decisions. They could have easily lost this game because of turnovers. And if they had lost this game, we would have been saying it's because of the mistakes. Like, you can't have so many turnovers.
Yeah, we would have been saying we beat ourselves.
Right.
Yeah, it's not. We wouldn't have said, well, yeah, they didn't
Right.
shoot well. That's true, but you can't turn the ball over 20
Yeah.
times and expect to win.
Yep.
That is correct. And yet, look, we're playing in the championship game now. I love the Hawks. I love this team, but I really didn't think they'd get here. I really didn't think so. So
Fair.
I think after this game that for now that God is a woman and she's a Hawk fan. That's what I think. So I can't wait to see what happens Sunday.
Well, Chris,
Thank you.
you calling in as always, and I want to make a
That's
correction.
hilarious.
Iowa had 16 turnovers. I said 20 something. 16 turnovers, but they had what, like 12 or 13 in the first half. So, anyways, Chris, thank you for calling
12 in the first half.
12 in the
Go
first half.
Hawks.
Thanks, Chris. Go Hawks.
Look, God is a Hawkeye, and you better know it.
Good question here from Justin. He says, Cash, if you were a ref in that moment, would you have called it an illegal screen?
I'm definitely calling it. I mean, still doesn't be the purpose. But I'm calling it. It's just
right.
I hate when it ends like that.
Okay.
It was just too many. Like if she would have just kind of just did a little, not her, but her feet was one foot in California, the other one in New York. There was too much going on. It's just I hate when it ends like that.
James, thank you for the super chat. They did it, and in the toughest bracket on the women's side, on top of it. Thank you, James. Absolutely, great stuff.
We was all nervous when that bracket came out.
Absolutely. All right, let's get to our next Iowa Smokehouse caller. James has been on hold since the beginning. James, welcome.
James,
hey, how you guys doing?
We're doing good, man. How are you?
Obviously, I'm doing good. I mean, better than I would be.
You're like Hannah Stolke. You always have the exact same demeanor. Like you're never. I shouldn't say that. Hannah does a pretty good job of getting hyped up in the moment when she gets an and one or she gets a big post.
Right.
I do when I'm coaching, but a lot of times, like outside of it, I get mad more to the game. But then once the game's over, I kind of just get back in my same mindset where it's just like focused on the next thing, or focused on the next game, whatever. Because this is how I've been since I've been coaching. So this is kind of how I live a little bit too in that way. But
nothing wrong with that.
But no, it was a good game, and it was a way to fight back. I feel like they could have way down and rolled over. And obviously, I know it's the end of the year, they wouldn't do that. But in a game like that, you got punched in the face right away. Some teams might be like, dang, or not fight as hard as they did. They kept fighting. And the late game situations do scare me a little bit in the fact of like, I don't know why Caitlin takes the ball out sometimes, because I feel like you want to give her the ball to the chance of free throw. I feel like that's what puts Hannah in that situation where it's like she's the only one that can get open because they allow her to get open.
I mean, but she don't got to be up there though.
I know. She's up there because she gets open, but that's because teams allow her to get open. That's not what I'm saying. I don't disagree with you. She shouldn't be up there at all. But I'm saying she gets up there. She gets up there because teams allow her to get open because they're like, oh well, she's gonna turn the ball over, so they allow her to get open.
Of course.
But if you notice late in the game, if you notice late in the game after the timeout, she didn't have her, and she put Taylor in for her because she knew free throws were coming. And I was like, that's probably what should have happened after the first timeout with 9 seconds left or whatever.
Apparently, Diana Taurasi is crying about the call. That's what JW
She cries about everything. Why is that new?
You know what? That happens in basketball sometimes. I mean, if the call doesn't go our way, some Megan Gustafson might be crying. I'm just using that name. I'm not saying Megan Gustafson cries. I'm just saying Megan Gustafson might be crying. Like, it's part of the game. It happens sometimes. Like, it was the right call anyways, but from other people's perspective, they're not going to see it as the right call because, they're UConn fans. So they're going to see it not as the right call.
By the way, this comment, I always find this interesting. Like, to make this statement, this black and white statement, look at the foul discrepancies between Iowa and UConn. Like, that does not tell the whole story.
What was the game? What was the game people try to make that? I think it was the West Virginia game where people try to make that same statement. And I was like, we play zone like 90% of that game. You got to understand you're not going to foul when you play zone 90% of the game. And now, one team drives to the basket, the other team shoots threes more.
Cash, there are several people, I'm guessing UConn fans, that want to know, do you think that Caitlin Clark pushed off on that mid-range jumper late in the game? Was that a push-off? Should that have been?
She didn't extend her arm. Agreed. Like, that's the thing, though. It was a shoulder. I mean, but at the end of the day, they both came to the same point at the same time, if that makes sense. If you
Yeah.
guys get what I'm saying.
Push-off sometimes reminds me a lot of a charge block in the way of like.
Yeah, does Caitlin Clark push off a lot? Absolutely,
Yeah.
she does.
Sometimes it's
And
very hard
that
call.
specific play, no.
True. Sometimes it's very hard call like a charge block. I feel like that is sometimes it's a very hard call. Like, sometimes it can be blatant, obviously, if your arm's all the way out. But sometimes it's not. It's kind of like a charge block where it's like it could go either way. Either you don't call it, or you call it, or you call it one way, you don't call it the other way. If that makes sense.
Yep.
Because it's not really black and white. It's more up for discrepancy. If that makes sense. But
Yeah.
I feel like we got to just keep fighting. Obviously, we know we're going to be outmatched in the size-wise. We know they got Cardoso, so we got to figure something out there. But I have faith in Bluder, and it's just glad to get there again. And, it's always – I'm just happy to make it, I guess I should say. Like, it's just happy to be in the championship game. I mean, I don't think people – obviously, outside of us, I don't think many people thought we'd be here, if that makes sense. I know it sounds corny because, yes, we have Caitlin Clark, but, like, I know a lot of people when they talk about the media, they talk about the team around her where they're like, it's not as good as people think. Like the people around her, people that don't know Iowa basketball don't think like the supporting cast is that good. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that one woman didn't even pick us in. What'd she say? She hadn't even got us in the top
Fifth.
5 in the Big
Just
Ten?
fifth.
Come on now.
Yeah.
That's
real
fun.
quick, I have to acknowledge this comment because Brandon is a loyal listener and I appreciate Brandon, but this is the bad take of the evening for me. Brandon, this cannot, I hope you're not being serious. So he says the illegal screen call was a Cooper to Jean. It was not a fair catch call. Technically correct, but rarely called. This time it went in our favor. Absolutely a terrible take, and I'll tell you why. Illegal screens are called all the time.
Yeah.
Nobody had ever heard of the illegal inadvertent signal, whatever the heck that was called. So that is a poor connection, in my opinion. Illegal screens are called all the time. Anyways, anything else, James?
I was going to say, have fun the rest of the night, and hopefully everybody leave a like. Cash didn't give her like goals, so she didn't give the goal what she wants to like.
Don't worry. It's coming.
It's coming.
Don't you worry.
James.
I already liked it, so I didn't worry about the goal. But
he said I already did my part.
Yeah. But in general, I'll talk to y'all later and enjoy your night. And hopefully we can pull one off on Sunday. It'd be amazing for Caitlin and Gabby and, them to go out that way for sure. But
absolutely. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the call. All right.
Well, since he already did that, I had a time that I was going to do it, but since you kind of segued into it, all right, give me my numbers.
We had like 1,200 people on at one point. Now we're at 967.
You say that like that's small, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, we had 1,200 people to start out. We had 967 right now. I think we lost some people while either I was giving my take on the foul or you were giving your take. Anyways,
whatever.
967. And we're at 609 likes. So can we hit 1,000? We hit 1,000 on the other live stream.
We did.
Yeah, we can hit 1,000, can't we?
We can hit 1,000.
But I need some energy, Kachine. There needs to be some energy.
You know what? Here's what we're gonna do. Okay? Yeah. Here's what we're gonna do. Considering we left all those people who really don't want to watch anyways, they were just here to see what was happening. We're gonna do 875 to start.
875. Okay, that's a
random number, right?
Number.
I don't know, but that's what was coming to me. So we're gonna go with 875. So I need everybody to push the like button below. Push the like button below.
We need to get to 875. So go scroll down.
875.
All right. I'm watching the counts. So we have to get to 875. That's a requirement from none other than cash money. So
there is it's a thumbs up right there.
Right below the screen.
Well,
right below
technically I think it's below Corey, but whatever. No. It's over there.
It is there. So please do that. We're at 636, make it 653. So we can get to 875. We've still got 917 people on. If all 917 people liked, we wouldn't have this problem. Anyway,
see? Boom.
Let's go back
But
to our Iowa Smokehouse call-in line. We've got Connor on hold. Connor, welcome to the show.
Yo, can you hear me?
We got you, Connor, loud and clear.
All right, glad you joined, you guys. Sorry I'm not at my most articulate moment tonight.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean the whole controversy around the foul kind of rubs me the wrong way. I mean, I was stuck around on ESPN. Scott Van Pelt was like saying like it was so controversial and it was a bad call, and getting all the commentators to agree that it was a bad call. I didn't see it as a bad call. I saw she like jumped out a step and leaned her shoulder and elbow into it. Whatever. I mean, I think part of that might just be, as an Iowa fan, I'm not used to being like the favorite, being like the one that the people who, cheer for the underdog are cheering against. So, usually I'm cheering for the underdog, and maybe that call, if it was against, Michigan in football or Michigan State in men's basketball, I'd be feeling the other way about it. But I'm coming back to, again, like the last time I talked to you guys was after the Nebraska game in the Big Ten championship. And I was saying, why is Hannah even on the floor at that point? As like, again, I love her. Like, she had a great night. I think especially there was a point in the first quarter where she got the ball like damn near the top of the key, like at the foul line, and was able to convert. And I'm like, oh my God, she has grown so much, like getting the ball up there and being able to make a move all the way through the lane and score. Like, she's fantastic. But like as a low percentage free throw shooter, when UConn just put those two straight fouls on us, like why are we even keeping her on the floor at that point? And I feel like this is like,
on the floor?
Sorry,
Who would you like to see on the floor?
I don't know, Taylor McCabe. I don't know, somebody who can shoot free throws.
Only reason why is because what happens if we turn the ball over? You can't get Hannah back in the game. And so now we've got 5 guards to guard them. So a lot of the times when you think of best shooters or whatever, in the grand scheme of things, it makes sense. But on the whim chance we turn that ball over, you can't call a timeout. You can't do anything. You just got to suffer with whatever you got on the court. So with Hannah, I don't know what Addison O'Grady's free throws look like. I have no idea. But with Hannah,
I'm not talking about Addison O'Grady. Yeah.
Maybe that's an option, but Hannah, you just got to get her out of there. She cannot be at the top of the key like she's been in all of those situations. Like, she dive her to the basket, throw her to the opposite corner. I don't care where you put her. Just don't put her at the ball. Just don't put her there. She ends up just standing there. Nobody's open, and then she just runs to the ball, which is a natural human reaction. But let's put her away from the ball so then we can have our guards do something else. But we can't take her out completely or not replace her with another post, because if we do turn it over, woo,
I mean, so what do we do in that situation? What are you saying? Like,
I'm saying
I know you're
two things. I don't know Addison O'Grady's free throws are like. So if she has great free throws, then I would switch out to 2. But if you can't do that, Hannah has got to either dive to the basket, maybe set a back screen for her so she goes to the basket, and then somebody set a screen for the other guard. But we've got to get her away from the basketball. Right now, we're all lined up at the top of the key like this. Then the guards run off of Hannah. Then she's left sitting there at the top of the key. And the natural thing is to then run to the ball because you're right there. So for me, it's just get her away from it. Like, get her out of there. Why is she there? She should not be in any mix to make any decision. It's just not in her best interest. So whether you set a back screen for her, whether you set it, I don't care what you do. Just get her away from the ball. Because you can't like intentionally foul her, because then that's a whole nother thing. The only thing you can do is wait for her to catch it, which is what they're doing. And if you dive her to the basket, they have to guard her. So they can't like leave her and then guard somebody else, because then she just has a wide open layup. So that takes one of the defenders out. Because right now they're just leaving her open at the top of the key. She's not a threat from there.
Well, do you think there was any like better contingency in terms of like getting players out there to get the ball from her so she didn't turn it over the way she did?
Well, I don't think that she's supposed to go get the ball, number one. And I think Lisa Bluter has got to figure out that Hannah has a natural instinct to then just go to the ball, which is why I say get her out of there, because we shouldn't have a contingency plan. It should be the simple fact they have to foul right away. They can't like let it linger. Like that's the point. And so Hannah was just looking around for somebody and they're like, oh, this is a steal opportunity. So that's why they didn't foul right away. But the whole situation is get her out of there. Get the ball to people so they can foul right away. Put Hannah under the basket where someone has to go guard her. It opens up the rest of the court for you to get open. So I don't know. That's we've seen that twice now.
Well, it was the West Virginia game, it was the Nebraska game, and then this one. Yeah, the same thing last minute. It's like we managed to get the ball to our worst free throw shooter in the last minute, and it don't work out well. I mean, we got away with it in every case so far, knock on wood, but and hopefully it won't even come to that the next game, because we know if it comes to that the next game, we're in trouble. Because basically the next game, we all know we need to shoot lights out from three. We need Gabby to have 3 threes. We need Kate to have 3 threes. We need Caitlin to have 6+ threes. And we need Hannah to get back in transition 4 to 6 times, and we just need to burn them that way. That's the only way we got a chance. But and that's my next question is just, and I haven't been watching the whole show. I'm sorry. I've been watching ESPN and BTN and stuff. But so what is the game plan? Are we going to go 2 bigs at some point? And then my other thought is, do we just throw in AJ in there as a second big sometimes, and say go ahead and foul, but no and ones, or O'Grady, can we say go ahead and take some fouls, but don't let shots?
Funny enough, I think O'Grady can hold her own against Cardosa. She doesn't have post moves. She's just trying to get as low as she can and shoot over you. And we saw in the LSU game that Addison is pretty strong. And so for me, it's just the fact that I think she'll be able to hold her own. I don't think we need to resort to hacking her to keep her from scoring. I don't think so. Honestly, I think she can hold her own. Hannah's going to have an issue. That's definite. I do not think they're going to play 2 post players. We done made it to the national championship game, not playing 2 post players. I highly doubt they're going to start now. So, although it would make sense, I doubt it. It's just not going to happen. They're going to roll with what they've been doing. So I just don't think that we're going to do that. Corey?
Yeah, I mean, based on reputation and history with this coaching staff and how Lisa Bluter handles her rotations, they've had other matchups where you could have seen them play multiple bigs. I thought that there maybe was opportunity against LSU to get Hannah Stokes and Addison O'Grady on the floor at the same time. I think that'd be the more logical one, to have them on the floor at the same time. Addison's not logging enough minutes where that would be too much of a concern. Now, granted, you'd like to give Hannah a breather at some point, so you insert Addison in for her. But no, I would be surprised if we see AJ Edgar, unless there's foul trouble, and there could be foul trouble. Maybe we'll see Edgar. Maybe we'll see Sharon Goodman. I mean, if there's foul trouble, they could go a lot deeper than they have. But ideally, it's the opposite. And hopefully, I don't know how much Camilla Cardosa is prone to fouling or buying in on pump fakes. I know Hannah Stolke's not one to fake a lot, shot fake a lot, but she has gotten better, I think, at drawing fouls. I thought there were some fouls. We talk about officiating. There were some fouls that weren't called that she took tonight inside. And of course, there's going to be missed calls in every game. So, and that is the next question.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just was going to say there's a comment here about the officiating. D Starks 360 wants to know from you, Kachine, do you think the game was fairly officiated from start to finish?
I think there were more phantom calls against UConn than they were us, but there was a lot of inconsistency. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
On both ends.
It was not egregious like LSU. If there was that game a year ago and the national championship was so egregious, there may have been a few more missed calls on Iowa side or on UConn side, but it was not this overwhelming. That's at least my take on that. I think we're on the same page. And you're going to have games like that, right? Like that's just the reality of
the luck of the draw, unfortunately.
Yep. D. Rollison, thank you for the super chat. Amateurs talk about tactics, but professionals study logistics. Bluter is a pro and has built a culture, regardless of outcome. We get to play against South Carolina Sunday. Cash and Corey, then a mid duo. Okay.
I'm just going to go with amazing duo. That's what I'm going with. I don't know about you, Corey, but that's what I'm going with.
I will take it as a compliment, and thank you, D. Rollison. Appreciate that. Yeah. And Hawkeye Rich, formerly Tragus 44.
Hey!
Love you guys. Iowa found a way to win, even though they did not play their best game. Appreciate that, Hawkeye Rich. Thank you for being here and for your contribution.
I like the new name.
Always. All right, I gotta share something here. Before I do, again, thank you to all of our super chatters. We're not through with the super chats. We're not through previewing the Iowa South Carolina game. We got people on hold. Can't be here all night. But I did just get an message from our guy Kyle, and I feel like it's worth sharing. This is a slowed down video of the play that was called an illegal screen. All right, from
I don't even have the picture on my phone right now. This is still
a very distinct angle. So let's go ahead and I'll share this video just so everybody can see it in slowed down. Even though if you want to watch it in full speed, you're going to see the same thing. But just for the sake of this discussion, let's go ahead and share my screen here. I don't normally do this. All right, can everybody see the screen here?
Yeah.
All right. You can see that, Cash?
Yep.
All right, let's play this. All right, so she comes into the wide stance, right? Look at that left leg go way over to the three-point line. Clearly still sliding. The contact occurs, and she's not anywhere close to being set. All right?
Oh, yeah.
So, that's number one, right? The wide stance. I mean, look at how far apart her legs are there.
That in itself is illegal.
Say that again?
I said that in itself is illegal. Without even moving, if your legs are that far apart, it's an illegal screen.
It looks like she's about to do the splits.
Yeah.
I mean, is this gymnastics or basketball? The contact occurs right there. And at this point,
and she's still sliding.
And you can see Aaliyah Edwards' right leg is clearly in the process of sliding in to make up for the wide expanse that she created by means of the moving screen. And then on top of it, you can see you use the term chicken wing, but you can see that left arm not down, not either.
You can't set screens like this, like you're rocking the baby.
Exactly.
Can't do that.
You have that left chicken wing, and you have the elbow extended there. See that elbow?
Yeah.
Elbow extended, leaning, and look at that. Look at the left knee of Aaliyah Edwards bending. You see that left knee?
What is she doing? Oh my God. What is she doing? Like, what is she doing? I don't understand. You know what's crazy? If you go back to the beginning,
yes,
she messed up her placement, right? And part of it is a two-part series, right? Because one, she should be further up anyways, because she knows what the play is. But she's now trying to adjust to Gabby, and that's where she gets caught. because Gabby's trying to jump over the screen, which she should, right? And she gets caught trying to adjust. Like that's.
I can't get over that massive, almost Goliath-like.
One in California, one in New York. I told you. So wide. I did. So wide. So 1 foot in Cali and 1 in New York. It's ridiculous.
Oh, I hope everybody enjoyed that as much as I did. That's good stuff. I appreciate Kyle sending in the slow-mo so I could go through that back and forth. So it was the right call, folks. Whether you like how the game ended or not, unbelievably
right call.
Unbelievably right call. All right. Before we get to our next caller, want to thank RTI Threads. I mentioned them earlier as we get set for the NFL draft, and Cooper DeJean gets set for the next phase of his already storied football career. Check out his apparel line and his NFL draft apparel line right now over at cd3lacesup.com. NFL draft designs for Cooper DeJean and his brand. cd3lacesup.com. You can also check it out. rtithreads.com for the full lineup of Hawkeye athletes partnered with our friends over in North Sioux City, RTI Threads. Thank you to Marty Millard and the guys over at RTI Threads in North Sioux City. Our RTI Threads player of the game was Hannah Stolke, 23 points, 9 of 12 from the field. And couldn't be happier for Hannah. She has not, I don't want to say she's played poorly in this tournament.
It's been a minute.
It has been a minute. And to have this kind of a game on this stage with everything going on around her that was going on as it relates to teammates, again, they don't win this game if it's not for the efficient effort inside offensively from Hannah Stolke. So, and it was a team win because we talked about rebounding and everybody contributed. It was not somebody that rattled. It wasn't like Sydney Falter, landed 15 boards or Stolke got 15. No, it was across the board, balanced, and Iowa decidedly won in rebounding. So congratulations to our RTI Threads player. Well,
good for us.
Wouldn't you say that's let me find the total here. Kachine. The final rebounding totals were 32 excuse me, make sure I have the right number here. 37-29.
The tale of two games, huh? We got our butts kicked on the glass last game, won that one, and then we killed on the grass and barely won this one.
What do you attribute that to?
Well, first of all, in the first game, we got killed on the boards, but they didn't convert them, and we shot a lot more. Well, made a lot more threes. This game, we did not make a lot more threes. So, and all the turnovers too. So you put that on top of it, it pretty much cancels out you winning the rebounding war.
Lisa Bluter made the comment during the ESPN broadcast on Monday that it's hard to box out on a 3-foot, 2-foot shot. I think that's also a fair point to make as it relates to this game, Cash. Well, why are you making the face like that at me, right?
I mean, it's really not. It's about toughness, but she can have it. Go ahead.
What I'm saying is if you have Angel Reese inside missing a bunny, it's not hard for Angel Reese to grab the ball again and put it back up again and miss another one.
Right. If you're not detailed enough to turn and box out. Yes, absolutely.
But I'm saying, go back and watch Moses Malone tape, right? You're going to sometimes Wilt Chamberlain tape. You're going to see guys missing bunnies and padding their rebound stats because they're right under the basket, correct?
I mean, yes. It's easier for them to rebound. It's just a simple fact if you don't have somebody that's detailed enough to actually turn, box out, and push them back, they're just going to be in the same spot again. You're going to be doing this, just jumping.
Yeah.
They got to turn and box.
All right. Katie Lee, thank you for the super chat. Wishing you the very best, Bailey. Thank you for inspiring Hawkeye athletes and fans. Going to leave that comment up here for a few minutes. Thank you, Katie. And yes, thank you to Bailey for being on here earlier. If you missed Bailey's appearance, definitely rewind the show. Once we go to our next Iowa Smokehouse caller, we've got Lonnie on hold. Lonnie, welcome.
Hey, thank you. Hi, Cash. Hey, I'm wondering what you think would, say 3 three things, Cash, that we're going to have to do as a team to win the championship game against South Carolina?
Top 3 keys.
You
That's a
know,
good
I was dreading that question. I really was this whole podcast.
Well, I wanted to wake you up.
We have to make as a team.
Yep.
I think we need to be over double digits in threes. Who that comes from, I don't care. But we gotta make at least 10. I think that, oh God, we have to limit their paint points. I know that they can shoot the 3 this year than they did last year. I understand that. I do. But I do think that we have to limit their paint points.
How?
Yes.
If you're not, you told us on the last show that if Iowa plays South Carolina the way they did last year, they're going to get beat by 50. So
I agree with that, because you can't play. There's nobody that you can play like that.
How can you compete against the size of this team if you don't pack the paint?
Everybody there. Hey, 4 other teams did. So at the end of the day, you can still limit people and be able to guard the 3-point line. Now, again, they're not in your face 3-point shooters. They're not Caitlin Clarks. They are Kate Martins. They are Gabby Marshalls. They are those kinds where, like, if you leave them wide the hell open, then yeah, they're going to shoot it. But you can still have activity. You can still figure out where you're going to trap from and rotate out of it. Okay. Kachine show again. Are you still there, caller?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. So anyway, sorry. You can still rotate out of the trap. You can still guard, but you still have to limit those paint points, because they do very well with getting in the paint and kicking out. Those are great threes. If we can force them into taking bad threes, I'm good with that. But you still have to own the paint, or at least limit their paint. That's my point.
Right. Yeah. Because I mean, just getting it into Cardozo and just letting her, touch the glass. We can't do that all night long. So
nor can we play Caitlin Clark in the middle of the paint and not leave it. We can't do that either.
Right.
So there's got to be a mix somewhere in there.
Yeah. Well, let's hope Luter's got it figured out, because I sure as heck don't.
I'm sure they've been watching the games that they've played close. The Indiana game, considering we know Indiana really well. I know they've watched the Oregon State game really tough, because at the end of the day, they figured it out a way. So to even get close.
Well, yeah, that's true. Okay, and one more real quick question. Where are we on the likes?
Yes! 12.
Well, my real quick, my internet completely dumped. So it dumped a second ago. That's why I left. I mean, it just completely just dumped, which means our people that were on hold on the phone line got dumped. So I apologize on the phone line. I can't do anything about it. We are at 721 likes. We've got to get to 875.
Damn. Okay, I was better than I said. All right, y'all. Come on now. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm trying to help you out. I tell you what, I'll stay on the line until y'all get 875 likes. That should get probably 200 likes real quick. Because nobody wants to hear me talk all night long.
Well, Lonnie,
I'm in 25, so I got 4 more.
Appreciate you calling. What was the third key? You said 10 plus 3-point field goals for Iowa, limit paint points. What was the third key, Kachine?
A run.
Oh, I was wondering if you were going to say that.
That was the key for the game tonight, and in general, Iowa did not do it.
Well, if you notice, UConn did a very, very good job. They did not crash anybody but their post players. Not a single person. They took not Caitlin. Nika was standing at the top of the key waiting for Caitlin Clark. Paige Beckers and KK got their butts back They did not look for offensive rebounds. If Aaliyah Edwards ain't get the offensive rebound, it was over with. And they were like, we're going to get back. We're going to disrupt their offense that way. So, I mean, technically, can South Carolina do that? Yeah, because they got 6'7" down there. She could get all the rebounds she wants. You know what I mean? So it's possible, but it still needs to be an emphasis because Cardozo still got to run with us.
Thank you to Lonnie. I think she just decided to end her call because I didn't bump her off, but she's gone. So, anyways, this show is getting weird. I'm having all kinds of weird internet things going on.
Yeah, you done booted everybody off, Lord.
Weird stuff is happening. So, thank you everybody for being patient. Maybe we've got a lot of people on. We had 1,200 people watching at one point. We're around 830 right now, even though it's 12:30 a.m. And we do need to get Kachine to bed. I know you don't have to work tomorrow, but it is late on the East Coast. So
1:30 a.m. to be exact.
and the child is down for the count.
Bingo. She was gone at halftime, probably before that, actually.
Good for her, man. She knows.
Which actually was pretty good for me because I knew that I couldn't like scream, you know, because then I didn't have to worry. I didn't have to worry about that. So it kind of kept me calm.
She knows how to live. Like that early to bed thing. I wish I could do that. I wish I could do that. Anyways, thank you to Katie again for the super chat. Do appreciate that. We're up to 750 likes on YouTube, so let's get to 875. And before we get to our next caller,
do we have a next caller since you booted everybody out?
Well, that's what I'm trying to make sure of. All right, yes, I think we do have our next. We do have our next caller, and I'm gonna make sure that that they're connected. All right. Yes, we've got our next caller here. Now, I'm hoping that I pronounce these names correctly because I think this is someone that we've not had on before. Be easy, dat dude. Be easy, dat dude. Am I saying?
Hey, what's up? Yeah, you said it correct.
Good to see you, sir. Welcome to the
show. I just caught you guys randomly. I liked what you were saying, and since you had it open, so I decided to join the stream. So. Salutations to the panel and so I didn't I heard your
I gotta put a disclaimer out there and for everyone that's new because I feel like there's been a lot of new people. I am wearing a Snuggie because it is a good luck Snuggie for the last 3 games. It is not like a normal thing, okay? I don't be on here just in Snuggies. So
running away from that now.
Okay, yeah, I was about to ask you where your bonnet at.
You know what? At this point, I was wearing the headband and nobody noticed it. I was wearing it for Molly.
Oh, I
wore my headband for Molly today because she couldn't play.
Katie wanted to know if it was for Molly.
It was. Good job, Katie. Somebody noticed. I was wearing it for Molly just because I felt like, we didn't get to see her and it's kind of a sad story. So I was wearing my headband.
I did notice it as well, but I didn't.
Okay, good. Okay, sorry, Carl. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I didn't have anything specific. Did you guys have a question? Because I didn't want to just come and just randomly opine. I want to keep it on target with your show. So were you guys talking about this game, the championship game, or what?
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of all over the place. I mean, I'm assuming, are you a UConn fan? Are you an Iowa fan? Or are you just kind of a
women's basketball fan?
Yeah, I'm more of a women's basketball fan. Because I was totally in support of that. Just this year, they elevated it and they really put the women's on the map because these women have always been balling. The difference is kind of like someone in the hood, that's good at Rucker Park. But since they don't get to, since obviously they don't get the airtime and the publicity, they're not regarded or revered as good. So these girls have been balling for decades, but it's only, there's been like a monopoly in terms of talent, right? You only think of Tennessee, you only think of UConn, and as something is similar that's happening in the college football, which is why Nick Saban, start acting like a little petulant, pouty brat and was whining because he wanted to retire and saying, "Oh, these players want to get paid." Yeah, because they were used to getting these players based off on prestige.
Peanuts.
Now with the NIL, it opens up the playing field. So now more talented people are saying, you know what, I don't have to go to UConn. I can go to this other school. Not only that, get my NIL and boost that program and boost my profile. So I like to see the parity with the women's basketball that have elevated it, and just not just only the players in the Final Four. You got Juju Watkins out there beasting, Cameron Brink beasting, the young lady from Utah. Yeah, so the Oregon State their center Beers. So it was just phenomenal to watch. And then the storylines behind UConn, Caitlin, it was like her dream school to go to UConn. And Gino is saying that Paige Beckers is the best player in the country, kind of taking a subtle jab. So the storylines behind it, not only the immense talent of the girls, I was just very, proud to see the game get elevated. And I do want to see more people in general, of all genders, but especially the women, because I hear a lot of women and feminists and stuff. And then when these girls make it to the league, a lot of them don't even go to the WNBA games. They go to the men's game. And I'm not saying just putting this on the women.
Get there.
Okay, that's yeah. Y'all crawling. You're crawling there, but I guess you got to crawl before you walk. But what I'm saying is because since everything now, unfortunately, goes too much off of vibes and stuff. But sometimes you can use those vibes to influence in a positive manner. So all of the influential artists, and the people that say that they are like feminists and they want equality, I think they do need to do a bit more to like highlight the talent of it, not just only talk about the pay gap, but highlight how talented these women are, how entertaining they are, and they have good personalities. So there's storylines behind it. Many of the girls are very attractive, so you get some eye candy. So there's a lot of things that you can do in terms of marketing to boost the sport. We know eye candy sells, right? That's why they choose certain men for roles, right? Like did the guy from Thor?
Are you talking about? Hey, are you talking about like Zach Edey, that kind of eye candy, or what?
That I'm a straight male, but I don't. So I haven't really checked them out like that.
Okay,
but
let's move off that subject. I do.
Okay,
you brought it up.
You called into this show, sir, and you said you kind of happened upon this show.
Correct.
I had somebody. Was it yesterday? Somebody commented on one of our most recent live streams and said, "Hey, UConn women's basketball is a power. South Carolina women's basketball is a power." They may have even brought up like Baylor or whatever, some of the other powers we've seen in recent years, LSU. And there are not other shows that have the fan interaction and obviously someone like Kachine Alexander. And I'm amazed by that. And I'm curious because you're a big women's basketball fan, sir. Are there other shows out there like this that get fans involved to this extent?
I personally don't know of one, so that's kind of why I wanted to join. Because sometimes people do show, their bias, which I understand as a sports fan. People will lean towards a certain thing, but when you're doing sports analysis and commentary, you do have to be able to give some sort of objective analysis, right? Like, you guys like Iowa, but if Caitlin played like crap, you would have to say that. It doesn't mean that she's a horrible player, but just being fair and balanced. So I do like that you guys are giving an impartial analysis, but still, representing for the teams and the players you like. And then you're opening it up, to the fandom and the public. So that way, you can have people either agree with you and scrutinize. I haven't seen other platforms for the women specifically do that. I have seen other sports platforms, but even them, they rarely do open it up. And for the most part, I have seen balanced analysis, but sometimes people are kind of way off. But they have the freedom of speech and expression on the platform to be wrong, I guess.
Last question for me, and I do got to let you slide and get to the next caller. But I want to ask you, do you know who the legend sitting in the middle of the screen is? The one in the Snuggie?
Not the Snuggie.
No. Do you know who this woman is in the middle of the screen? It's okay if you say no, because you just happened upon this show, but do you know?
I do not.
You go look up that name, right? Hey, you're a big women's basketball fan. You go look up that name in the middle of your screen. I'm going to let you. It's going to be your homework. You go look up that name on the screen, and you call us on Sunday, okay?
All right. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for the call.
Thank you. That's
always
funny.
love to hear from new
Love
callers.
that. Guys, that is like authentic good stuff. Like that means one, you guys are a big part of the show growing and people just stumbling upon us. And that's a big credit to you, Corey, because he's right. There aren't a lot of platforms like this. And number one, of people being a little unbiased and being able to call it like it is and being able to have like really good conversation. So kudos, Corey. Everybody put claps in the chat for Corey. Yes.
Well, no, as I've said before, I've said it many times. I appreciate that compliment, but as I've said many times, not just about this show, but about our show with Coach Patterson, Coach Close, it's you guys that make the show what it is. I learned that a long time ago when I went on this venture that I have to get people who are a lot smarter than I am, who have a lot better experience than I do, and we've gotten that with you and the rest of our lineup. So appreciate our caller for hopping on. Please feel free to join us on Sunday. Let's go back to our Iowa Smokehouse call-in line. Who's on the line?
Reporting live for the great late from the Hawkeye of the Storm podcast, Lomansky. Yes. I noticed the Nike headband. I knew why you wore it. I felt for Molly too. One of my favorite players, the 5'7" dynamo that maybe some people say she could never play Division I. And we felt her absence the last few games. We're turning the ball over without her. Cass, why does Corey worry so much about your bedtime? Like, the longer the show goes on, it's like you playing basketball in the fourth quarter. You're game, girl. And Corey's eyebrows start to droop, and he has to crash to maybe go get a beverage. And does he not know that you got game?
Yeah, I mean, he knows, but he's blaming it on me. He's using me as a scapegoat, which I'm totally fine with because it is like 1:43 in the morning. So he's using me, but y'all know Corey be tired. He's the old one out of us too.
Well, first of all,
you look much younger than Corey Bratta by at least 10 years.
So I just want to make something clear. There is some truth to that sometimes I use Kachine as a scapegoat because like last night I made the statement right at the beginning of our live show. I said, I'm not going 2 hours. Kachine's got to get to bed. In reality, what did Corey actually mean? It was, I'm not going 2 hours. I want to get to bed. But I do think of our Kachine here because she does have other obligations in life. But no, it is a Friday night, so I guess we'll enjoy it while we have it. Or
Corey, if we took a vacation out east to see her and give her Snuggie, which you haven't gave her yet, hint, and we made that trip. You know what you do? It'd be about 9 o'clock, and Cash should be on her third drink ready to roll, and you go, well, Lomansky, time to go home. It's past Cash's bedtime. Let's let her go to bed and let's go What a bunch of crap, Corey.
Lemansky,
Yes, that's hilarious. I
wish
love
I
it.
could tell you were wrong.
Well, I tell you what, you know you reach the mountaintop when everybody's throwing rocks at your basketball team and the haters come out and the chat's full of haters, and you know you've reached the mountaintop of college basketball. Cash, who would you, with your, maybe go back 15 years, who would you consider blue bloods of women's basketball?
Do I get like an unlimited amount or?
Even though UConn maybe hasn't made the Final Four the last couple years, I think UConn's a blue blood. You got any other blue bloods in women's college basketball the last 15 years?
For team, Tennessee.
Yes.
Let me see.
Is South Carolina?
Those would be in obviously now South Carolina. But those are the three I can think of.
Stanford?
Yeah, we can throw them in there. Yep. You can throw them in there.
UCLA?
Nah.
Okay.
Not for women. Yeah. Stanford, that's when they had the Agumake sisters. They had, yeah, I'll give them that. Yep.
I don't consider Baylor or LSU a blue blood. They just haven't done it long enough. Am I?
Did you say LSU?
Yeah,
Or-
LSU and Baylor.
They are.
Yeah, LSU and Baylor.
Not LSU. I mean, technically speaking, you probably should put Baylor in there. You probably should. Of all bias, take the biased opinion out of there. You probably should put Baylor in there because Kim Mulkey won how many championships with them?
Yeah. So I hope the Hawkeye fans really understand where we are. And I think like sometimes I don't think I know where we are because it hasn't sunk in yet. But I want to tell Cash that your energy level just keeps getting better. And towards the end, when it was nip and tuck, and then we have the wonderful Kyle Spence golf with the video, which was tremendous content.
Yes, it was.
I had tears rolling down my eyes, and not because those young women deserve that victory. I don't care what people, ESPN, and I'll watch my mouth, but both teams deserve the win, but Iowa deserved that freaking win, didn't they, Cash?
They fought. I'll tell you that much. They fought for that at the end. It was not going in their favor, and honestly, I didn't feel good about it at all. Not like 1 minute of the game was I like, "Ooh, all right, we're good. I like how we're playing." No, not 1 minute did I feel like that. So they gutted that one out, literally.
I coach youth basketball. My team got beat by the same team with a great player for 3 years. And the last game that I ever coached them and they played, I said to them, teams can always beat one or two great players, another team, if you learn how to play together. And I told them coming out at halftime to the superintendent's son, start playing tough. And the ball was tipped and the superintendent's son went down and careened the guy over the back and knocked him into the stage where the mat was. And he laid there for about 30 seconds. And we went out to see if he was hurt. He looked up and he says, "Is that tough enough, coach?" Looked right in my eyes. I said, "That was perfect. Keep fighting, but don't foul out." And I think on that screenplay, folks, Corey and Cash, on that screenplay, we haven't talked about it, but Paige Beckers did not let that screen sit. She got a little over anxious and came at her. And just for people that love basketball, Paige has to let that screen set and know that it's legal. And she rushed it. And God bless Gabby Marshall did not go below that screen. She fought through that sucker at 5'7", and I just smiled like hell.
She did.
Well, Lemansky, I couldn't agree more. And as always, always enjoy your energy and your calls. And please be here regardless of result on Sunday, sir.
Yeah. Corey, have a great night.
Thanks, Lemansky.
He'll be there. It's Lemansky.
He'll be here. He absolutely will
Of
be here.
course.
We can
We
count
have
on.
one more post game, you guys.
I know.
And the crazy part about it, we made it to the furthest you could possibly make it.
Yes, we did. And here's the deal: if anybody ever feels like I come on here and I look like a zombie, or maybe there's stretches of time where I act like a zombie, I hope that's not the case. But if that's the case, it's only because
Yes, we did. And
this
here's
is the
deal.
most number of post games I've ever done, because I've never, 3 years into this thing, we had football, men's basketball for the first 2 years, and now we've got football, men's basketball, women's basketball. So as far as I'm all post gamed out. Okay, not that I'm not enjoying this, I really do enjoy it, but it is a lot. So it's appreciate everybody that makes this happen, and we've still got, it's almost 1 a.m. We got 700 people here still. So thank you to everybody for hanging tight. Hopefully you're enjoying the show. Sometimes these celebratory shows get a little bit off topic, but that's okay. How often do you get to talk about a Final Four win? And Iowa got one tonight over Connecticut.
Can you imagine what our show would be like if we won a national championship?
Well, let's see what the result is first. Let's see what the result is first. But yeah. So a couple things. We've got a couple people to finish off our night on hold.
Yes. Bring them in.
We've got to get to
Got
them.
so many new people today. I love that.
Great. It is great. All right, let's go to our next Iowa Smokehouse caller. We've got Tyler, we got Corey in that order, and then we got somebody on our phone line. We'll head to our first Iowa Smokehouse caller, which is Tyler. Tyler, welcome back, sir.
Hey, good to see you guys again. Thanks for staying up so late and taking.
You relaxed now, Tyler?
What's up?
Are you relaxed now?
Yeah. I've had a couple beers, so I'm good. Don't worry, I'm not going to get obnoxious.
Thank you for being on 8. Kudos to Tyler and to Corey, who are both on hold. They've been on hold a long time, so thank you for waiting a long line of callers tonight.
No problem at all. A couple questions. South Carolina is like one of those teams that nobody really talks about. They don't really have any. They have a couple of named players, and that's about it. But they're like more than the sum of their parts, and so nobody gives them a lot of attention. What do you think makes them such a juggernaut? You know, and what are the characteristics that make them so dominant?
They have a mixture of talent on their team. So they have obviously their big center in the middle, right? Mm-hmm. So you've got height, which is always a plus. And then you have athleticism, right? So now you've got Watkins on the 4. What you have 20 boards tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got Malaysia Full-Wiley on the perimeter. And then you've got your blue-collar point guard who just wants to dish the ball out in Raven. So, and then your shooter in Bree, right? And then your shooter in Pow. So they have like a well-balanced team in regards to having every piece. You've got your height, you got your athleticism, you got your shooters, you got your point guard. So that's why I feel like they're just an overall good, solid team. Like they're just a solid team where you either have to be shooting well or you got to catch them on an off night, right? Because they just have a good, solid team where weaknesses are not, they don't have a lot of them. So in that aspect, again, our weakness is our height. That's just a fact. Our height, we ain't got no height. So with them, I feel like that's why they're so good as well-roundedness. That's a word.
Does Iowa have any advantages over South Carolina? Because I can picture the ESPN pregame show giving their picks on Sunday. All of them are going to go down the line and say South Carolina for a number of reasons. Aside from Clark, is there any advantage that we have on them?
Maturity.
Okay. How far does that get?
Which goes a long way. At the end of the day, it's what's got us many wins. So at the end of the day, it does go a long way. It's just the simple fact of that I've said this before about South Carolina. One of their downfalls is that they are very immature and they have trouble sometimes with staying locked in. The thing with Iowa is that if you let us get hot or if you have a lapse in judgment, that is a 3 going up. You cannot lack judgment or lack focus on Caitlin Clark. You can't. Because if you do, she is going to make you pay for it. We are going to make you pay for it. And then before you know it, we're up 12. So I think for them, that is going to be what Dawn is going to be harping on, staying locked in for 40 minutes. If that's not her, I would bet everything I have that is what her slogan is for our game, is staying locked in, because they have troubles doing that. They struggle in the first half a lot of the times, or they struggle in a couple quarters and then they turn it on. They go 29 and 6 in the third quarter versus NC State. Like, what? Like things like that. So I think our maturity would go a long way, because they're going to punch us in the mouth at some point. So do we die like NC State did? Or does our maturity say keep fighting and when we come back? Or whatever that looks like. Maybe we're up and they come back. Whatever it is, our maturity has to be there.
Is there anybody like who's going to draw the assignment on Clark, do you believe, at the beginning of the game? And are there anybody like Nika Mill?
Nah, no. I don't think so. That depends. If they want to put height on her, they'll probably go Bree, but or they'll put Raven on her. One of those two. They could always switch it up and put Watkins on her too, but that's a bold move. So, yeah, she's got her pick of the litter.
Okay.
But Wally cannot be on her. Absolutely not.
Final question. Hannah Stolke obviously had a big game, and some people have even been saying that she took a gigantic step forward in her coming of age game tonight. How well will she stack up against the South Carolina bigs?
I think that's going to be a very tough offensive night for Hannah. Once Cardoso is on the bench, however, I think she can be aggressive. But being aggressive against her is going to be very tough, because that you're giving up 5 inches, maybe. Yeah. I'm not sure how tall Hannah is, but 5 inches with her long wingspan at that, that's a tough one. So I don't foresee Hannah having a 23, 24-point game unless she is getting it in transition. So, but her being effective on the block, that's not happening. If she's in the high post, Carmilla's just going to be sitting in the paint, ready and waiting. So, because she doesn't have a jump shot. So I think she's going to struggle offensively.
That was all I had. Thanks a lot for taking my call, guys. And if I don't get a chance to call in on Sunday, it's been a real pleasure watching you guys and hanging out with you and asking questions of you. And hopefully we can do this again next season if I don't talk to you on Sunday. So y'all have a good night.
Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate the call,
you,
sir.
Tyler.
I will be here next season.
Be here next season.
So, for all we know, Kachine could have accepted some job in Zimbabwe by then.
Not Zimbabwe, Lord Jesus.
Wherever I'm at, I plan on being here. So, okay, we're gonna try to get through our last couple of people. Man, this has been a long show. It's great, but it's been a long show. I appreciate this. Destiny Pirate, out-of-state visitors to Hawkeye of the Storm here. Not only Corey, the best young host in the USA, Kachine is the best basketball expert, and Fall brings the best expert with Coach Don Patterson. Couldn't agree on that more. But anyways, let's go to Corey, our next Iowa Smokehouse caller. But before we go to Corey, he's been waiting forever. I just saw he was finishing his beer. So we'll let that beer take effect, Corey. I do want to.
Oh,
I want to
Lord.
thank Iowa Smokehouse for being a part of this show. They've been with us throughout the season, throughout the last couple of seasons. Be sure to check out the selection, the wide selection. If you need a midnight snack, especially when it's midnight or 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. if you're out in the East Coast like Kachine, check out the selection at iowasmokehouse.com. Their beet sticks, their jerky, their steak bites, their bacon products are all excellent. They've got ketchups, barbecue sauces, salsas, and more. It's all delicious. Check it out, iowasmokehouse.com. Use the code Hawkeyes. Tasting is believing with Iowa Smokehouse. Let's go to our Iowa Smokehouse caller, Corey. Hey there. How are you, sir?
Hey, Corey.
Corey, I'm mind blown. I've got so many thoughts going through my head that I'm passionate about. I want to fire them off. First off, Bailey Lux, we love you. You're a fighter. You're a champion. We are in your corner, girl. And Bailey Lux, your smile is contagious.
Absolutely.
Moving on. Another contagious smile. Cash Money Kachine. You never fail. I want first and foremost to say that my Iowa floor covering player of the game, in honor of Lemansky, whose voice broke up with the passion that he has for his favorite girl, Kate Martin. Okay. Kate Martin driving the lane, spinning, not traveling, and hitting those fall away 4-footers when we were about to lose control of this game. She fended off a run from hell and showed more toughness than anybody in that game. I'm sorry. Kate Martin is my Iowa floor covering player of the game. And Lemansky, I got your back. Okay, moving on.
Yes.
Kyle Spence golf. So impressive. Okay. That illegal pick and that graphic, I hope all you UConn biased people watch that. If you didn't, replay this on YouTube and get back to that, because I'm sorry, that girl was not in New York and California. She was outside the continent with those legs. If I could stretch like that, I wouldn't have the back problems that I do. Okay. Moving on, and I'm going to ask a few questions, but first, Corey, the reason you have the best show is you have expert analysis. Nobody else does. Whether it's Don Pattinson, whether it's Kachine, you have expert analysis. You have insiders providing analysis. Nobody else does. That's why your shows are the best. Okay, moving on. Concordia College. My goodness, Kachine. Do you know how many Coors Light Extra Golds I drank in those dorms at Concordia College? My best friend in the whole wide world, I'll just say Jason because I don't want to embarrass him, but I spent so much time in St. Paul, and
that's awesome.
They don't have to salt the roads there because it's so cold. The snow and the ice gives you traction. You don't lose like dry ice. The snow adds to the traction. So moving on. Okay. I just want to say that, and I don't like singling out individual players, but I just have to say that there's players that have taken big steps or have made big plays in big moments, and they were not necessarily Caitlin Clark. And that is great, because all we've heard is, and I've even stated this, Iowa has 1 5-star. All these other teams we're going to play have 5 5-stars or 4 5-stars as far as high school, analyses. But I guess my question is this: Cash Money Kachine, the machine. Would you not say, I don't want to bait you into this, but is our defense ultimately what has gotten us here?
Is our defense
the improvement, or let me rephrase it.
There you go.
Had we not,
that's much better. There you go. Our improvement.
Had we not improved our defense, would we even be here?
That I can agree with. Like, I think we kept saying our defense was horrific. We were horrible, this, that, and the third, whatever. Obviously, we know we're, an offensive juggernaut. That's what we do, right? But at the end of the day, our defense has helped us tremendously in the NCAA tournament. So our improvement from the regular season to even just the Big Ten tournament to moving on to the NCAA tournament, I think is partially a big reason why we're here.
Okay, now looking forward to South Carolina. Big on big. We can't compete, but looking at how we trap down on the big when they get the ball, especially if they handle the pass and it's low or it's about to pass, and with the way we trap down, I mean, where can we have success in defending their monster center? It's going to have to be trapping down, isn't it? I mean, we have to harass her with multiple bodies. What's the solution to stop her from giving us our last year's treatment of Monica Sonano?
And Corey, I'm gonna throw this to Cash to answer that question. I'm gonna let you slide unless you got another question that you want to throw in. No, I appreciate you being here so long and waiting on hold for so long, despite the time. You rock. Thank you for being here, Corey, as always.
I love you guys. Greatest show. Not even close.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, so that's a great question about Camila Cardoso and trapping and just trying to figure out a way to disrupt what she gives you size-wise and skill-wise, because she's developed a lot of as it relates to offensive game since Iowa saw her a year ago.
Yeah, she has. Definitely. She's gotten a lot better. I think, whatever defense we decide to run, we have to be forward-thinking. So we have to anticipate. We cannot react in whatever defense we do, whether it's trapping, whether it's being active, whatever it is that they come up with, it has got to be forward thinking. If we are reacting to everything that they do, we are going to be in trouble. Whatever that may be.
Erica Goldberg, thank you for the super chat. As I said before, the haters in the chat hate us because they ain't us. Keep trying, haters. How about that from Erica? Thank you, Erica, for being here. John Clapp says 2 different halves. They were more aggressive on offense and defense and got sped up, and they may have started to tire out UConn. Is there some truth to that, Kachine? Do you think?
I'm sure
maybe
there is
somewhat of a change. They did get out and run a little bit more in that second half.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, for sure. I think they took it up a notch on both ends of the ball, both sides of the ball. Sorry.
All right. Again, thank you for the super chat, John. D. Rollison, thank you as well. He says the crowd needs to be like Dookies at Cameron on Sunday. This team thrives off crowd energy.
They do.
How does one celebrate a win?
They
How does
do.
one celebrate a win? I'm assuming he's talking about a potential national championship victory. What
I
will
don't
the
know,
celebration
but Charlotte gonna hear me if that's the case.
Lonnie, thank you for the super chat. This has the feel of the Cubs World Series.
Oh, that's good. I like that one.
Mike 3883 says, will you do a live stream for the game? Go Hawks. So we will do a post-game show. I don't know if Mike is talking about a live stream as in,
are we going to be on live when the game's going on for our takes? That's
no.
what he's talking
No, that is too. So first of all, I've had people ask about doing that for not just women's games, but for games. That's very difficult to do and not always very enjoyable. I mean, when you're interacting with a live chat and you're trying to watch a ball game and certain people's streams are ahead of yours. Anyways, more complicated than it seems.
Think about that though. If you are watching the game, we're all stressed, right? Like, we're all stressed. We're all yelling at the TV. We're all in that mindset. I do not want to be yelling at you, amazing people. So I would much rather yell at my TV in peace when nobody is around me.
I agree. Kachine, Mike says you should do a crossover video with South Carolina fan Gamecocks talk with Captain Will.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know who that is either, but I appreciate that. The only problem, not that I'm unwilling to entertain something like that, but this is a quick turnaround. So we'll probably publish a segment from this show tomorrow. But boy, we really hit the road running 2:00 Central Time on Sunday. Thank you for the super chat, Mike. And D. Rollison adds the crowd needs to be like, okay, we already got this. Didn't we already?
Yes, we did.
Well, if I don't know why I had that twice. Thank you, D. Rollison, for the super chats.
Right.
And T. Hawkeye, has Don gave his South Carolina analytics for the game on Sunday? That's a good question. I'll have to talk to Don. I know Don was out of town for a while. I've not talked to Don in a couple of weeks, so I'll have to touch base with Don Patterson. Thank you, T. Hawkeye, for the super chat. Ozzy Went says, hey, Kachine should, I don't know if they meant Iowa, but asking about Amari Berry, the 2025 five-star phenom. I'm assuming she's asking, or he or she is asking about Iowa going after this five-star in 25. I don't know a lot about her other than she's a big name.
She's 24.
She's 24?
I thought she was. She was already committed to, I don't know. Anyways, that depends. I don't know if she's 24 or 25. That changes things. So I'm not sure.
And she's a guard, correct? What is she?
Yeah.
What makes her special that from what you know?
She's pretty shifty in regards to with her ball handling. She can shoot the three. She's athletic, if I remember correctly, because I watched her when she was pretty young. So, yeah.
And Lemansky, thank you for that super chat. Corey, you the man.
You the man. You the man. You the man.
What time is it? All right. We are done with our callers. Quick fire. These are like one-word answer questions, Kachine.
Okay, I'm ready.
Bobby.
I'm ready.
Is it not the norm to confirm a three-point shot at the next dead ball and to not stop play to review? It seemed like a free timeout for UConn.
No. I mean, yes, it's normal. What? Wait, hold on, Kachine. It is not the norm. It is normal. Sorry.
Okay.
It did give them a free timeout, but it happens as long as there isn't them stopping play like they got a steal or something like that, they can stop it.
Joe says, Corey, what do you say to all the Twitter trolls saying that this game was rigged in Iowa's favor? Well, I say that that's exactly what they are, Twitter trolls, and trolls are going to troll. So anyways, D Starks 360, excellent analysis all year by Kachine. Agree with that. Xavier, my lone question is, why was Caitlin not guarding the perimeter in the first quarter? She seemed winded for the longest time. Am I wrong?
Listen, your guess is as good as mine. I think she underestimated Nico.
That's not her. That scouting? That's not just Caitlin Clark, right?
No. Caitlin was not trying. Like, she was there and she was just kind of like, let me see if you're going to make it. Like, literally, you can see it. And then now, yes, that's not like her strong suit. But at the same time, like, after she makes one, at least get a hand up. I'm not saying you got to guard her, but get a hand up at least.
Yeah, absolutely. RC on Aces, Hawkeyes, and Bruins says, just popping in to say Iowa Sports on YouTube's best Iowa Sports on YouTube. Salute Corey and Kachine. Thank you for that. Kachine, you got to come back next season no matter what. Ari Gold says, Molly Davis going to play in the last game. I hope so. I don't think so, but I hope so. I'll just say that. I don't think anybody knows right now, or at least we don't know right now. Outlaw Josie Wales, does South Carolina have a defender who will guard Caitlin as tough as what we saw tonight?
I don't think so. But then again, I didn't think she was either. So
yeah,
I could tell within the first couple possessions, though. But I don't think so. But who knows?
Jeremy says, should Stolke have posted Paige up rather than pass it out? Assuming he's
talking about, but
the last turnover.
If Paige is on her, then yeah, sure.
They ran the clock down there on that last possession, and that's why I said go earlier. Be less concerned on that clock down as much as they did. And by the way, I mentioned this on Twitter, Kachine, but did you agree with what I tweeted out at the end of the first half? Like, why are you not if you've got 45 plus seconds?
I agree wholeheartedly.
For Caitlin Clark to launch a contested three, why not take it right away so you get that second possession? Why let the clock run down and then take a? They didn't move the ball at all. That possession.
At all. Didn't even move to the other side of the floor. Just stayed there. That was a bad shot on Caitlin's part, for sure.
And I have no problem with her taking the shot if it's right away in a 2-for-1 situation where you know you're going to get another shot at it. So,
yep.
Tony says, why didn't they call the push off and score by Clark such moments before? Well, we talked about that. Did not extend. And that's a big part of that call. John, Kachine, can Iowa run on South Carolina? I'm concerned about Hannah's ability to stay out of foul trouble against Cardoso.
You should be concerned. And I do think we can run on anyone. So, yeah.
And D. Starks, if Cardoso gets in early foul trouble, does Iowa win?
That doesn't change a thing.
They're big across the board.
It doesn't change a thing.
Yeah. Slavic, thank you for the super chat. How many fouls, cardio, and Caitlin? How much will fouls, cardio, and Caitlin Clark energy come into play? How do you max Caitlin's potential against South Carolina? Cardio and fouls have been a huge factor. I'm assuming he's talking about this tournament. Thank you for the super chat, Slavic.
Like I told you, we got to get her out of the paint. Hannah gonna be setting a lot of screens. I can tell you that much. Get her into ball screen action because one, she's got to come up to play Caitlin, but also she doesn't move well laterally enough to guard the pick and roll. So that should be kind of our bread and butter. But I am not saying that we should just set a ball screen and go into our offense. No, I think we should still run our offense, and within that offense, set a ball screen. You're easy to guard if you just set a ball screen from the beginning.
Thank you for the super chat. Kyle Hawaii says, do you believe the late start had any sort of effect on the players?
Nah, it's always nice to watch another game before you play. It kind of gets you, well, it should get you excited.
Yeah. Let's see. Strategy against Cardoso. We addressed that earlier, Brad. If you want to rewind, we did talk about strategy there. M says, why do you think Taylor McCabe was put in last few seconds? Free throw shooting.
I don't know why she didn't play. Beside the point. Because if they were playing the way they were playing in the first half, I would have put Taylor McCabe in. Why? Because they were leaving everybody open. So if they're going to leave everybody open, they either going to leave Taylor McCabe open, and I'm all for that, or they can't, and that opens up more driving lanes for Caitlin. I was not happy with that decision. And that is coming from me. You should know.
Aspire to Cycle says, what does a victory like this, being in the national title game again, do for recruiting? This is a very common question right now. People are excited about the future.
The same thing it does with any other big game. It's always good because people believe that you can win a national championship or compete for a national championship at the University of Iowa, and that's amazing. Recruiting is a 24/7, 365 days job. It never stops.
Michael says, does this team compare to the Fab Five in 1950? Should they all retire all the starter numbers? Well, no, I don't. I think that's going a little far. I think that's going a little far. Caitlin Clark's jersey number should be retired. Yes, of course, obviously.
Immediately.
But, yeah, absolutely. M says the team seems so chilled, not the intensity and sense of urgency that's needed. Do you see it differently?
I tweeted almost the exact same thing using the exact same words, intensity and urgency. So I agree exactly.
And Broad Fjord says, why is the foul on CC the and 1-3 not upgraded? Well, it was where Caitlin landed, and it's gotten too late. I can't talk anymore.
We don't have that rule, by the way. It's like the NBA does, where if you land under someone, we don't have that rule. Just
it's what? If you
like
land
in the NBA, it's an intentional foul. If you like put your foot under someone else's foot, it's an intentional foul. And we don't have that. Like they made that rule after, huh?
I watched the NBA. I was not aware that was an intentional foul. If
they made that a rule after what's his name? Oh my goodness. He plays for the Clippers. Number 2. What is his name? He played for Toronto Raptors, won a championship. Kawhi Leonard. When he messed up his ankle with the Spurs, because I forgot who it was at the time, they were playing the Warriors, put his foot underneath him and he landed on and twisted it, they changed the rule. And it became like an upgraded foul because of that. Because they consider it intentional. It was an upgraded foul because they felt like people were doing that on purpose. Whatever. We don't have that. It can't be upgraded. It's just a common foul.
I don't think it should be. Like you close out a little hard, it's a foul. But we're already calling things, and we're already calling things intentional fouls that are not intentional. So, anyways, Camilla Alves says comments on the WNBA players hating on Clark. I think she'll struggle a lot because the best defenders out are taking the challenge personal.
Yes, they are, and they should.
Okay.
Think about it. Like, you've been busting your butt, literally, for years. Right? And although it is a great thing, and I think all of them will say that, they're probably tired of hearing Clark's name too. So at the end of the day, when she comes there, they are coming after her every game. And I think Caitlin is up for the challenge. I don't think she's going to back down from it, but which should make the WNBA very interesting this year. Can't wait.
Okay, and then RC on Aces, Hawkeyes, and Bruins. Caitlin might have to drop 50. I'm just saying. Boy, if she drops 50 on Sunday, what a way to finish the career. But thank you for the super chat. And then how about this one? Our final comment of the day. I saved this one for last. T Hawkeye says, Corey, I had the cows out. I put them back in the fixed fence. I came back in, and you're still on. You could not get more Iowa than that comment. You
definitely can't.
More Iowa than that comment.
You definitely can't.
All right, folks. Iowa defeating UConn in the Final Four. National championship game is on Sunday. Hawkeyes over the Huskies tonight, 71-69 behind a 23-point performance from Hannah Stolke on 9 of 12 shooting. And Caitlin Clark chipped in 21 points, 7 assists, did have 4 turnovers, but she also added 9 big rebounds. Kate Martin had 11 points, 8 rebounds. Sydney Falcher, 8 points, 7 rebounds. We also saw some solid minutes from Gabby Marshall. Obviously, the defense on Paige Becker, she also added a couple of long-range jump shots, one of which was later called a 2. She finished with 5 points, 5 rebounds. The Hawkeyes move on to the national championship game where they'll face none other than South Carolina Sunday, 2 p.m. Central Time on ESPN and ABC. Kachine, it's late. You're tired. I'm tired. Thank you for being here. We've got one more show Sunday. So please get some rest. Let's just hope that let's hope we're talking about something really amazing after the game on Sunday.
Oh my God.
Can you give me a
Yeah.
this is my last question. Give me a percentage chance Iowa wins Sunday. And be objective here. Be objective. What you think is going to happen, not what you hope is going to happen.
Those are way two different percentages. You're absolutely right. 30%.
30. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go 35. I'll go 35. It's the Caitlin Clark.
Did you go 35 because I went 30? Or was that in your head beforehand?
I'm like those people on The Price is Right that always bid $1 more than the previous contestant. Always
You're like 30, 31.
Yeah.
And 1 cent.
1. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
All right,
Well, I
folks.
guess we're going to see.
Thank you all for being here. It's been a pleasure. Brian.
Let's shock the world.
Shock the world, Brian. Thank you. WNBA needed Clark more than Clark does. All right. Thank you, Brian, for that comment. And everybody on Sunday, enjoy your Saturday. We'll talk about national championship basketball on Sunday.